The year is 1645. Outside the heavy lead-paned windows of this Leiden study, a biting Dutch winter wind howls against the stone, searching for a way to break into the world. But here, within these thick wood-paneled walls, the world has narrowed down to the golden circle of light cast by a single sputtering tallow candle. There is a profound, almost sacred silence here, a quiet so deep that you can hear the settling of the floorboards and the slow, rhythmic breathing of the man seated at the heavy oak desk. This is not a place of chaotic discovery, but of meticulous preservation. Tonight, we are not interested in the storm outside. We are here to witness a quiet ritual, an act of defiance against the passage of time. We are here to assemble a life's work, one fragile pressed petal at a time. Imagine the scent. It is a rich grounding mixture of centuries-old parchment, the sharp, clean note of dried lavender, and the deep, resinous undertone of cedar wood drawers. Your hands, slightly calloused from hours of delicate work, rest on the desk. Before you lies a stack of heavy cream-colored archival paper, its texture rough enough to hold a quill's ink, but soft enough to cradle the brittle remains of a summer long since past. This is an herbarium, a personal sanctuary of pressed botanical specimens gathered from the damp forests of the Netherlands and the distant sun-drenched slopes of the Alps. Each specimen is a frozen moment of history, a physical memory that you are carefully securing against the inevitable decay of the seasons. As you pick up a pair of brass tweezers, your movements slow down. The rush of the outside world, the politics of the university, the debates of the natural philosophers, the encroaching cold fades into insignificance. All that matters is the leaf in front of you. You are the guardian of these remnants, a bridge between the living world and the eternal record. This is more than just study. It is an exercise in profound, tranquil order. It is the peace of knowing exactly where you are, exactly what you are doing, and exactly why it matters. For the next several hours, you are safe, you are contained, and in this small glowing pocket of 17th century Leiden, you are entirely at rest. Every movement here is deliberate. You reach for the bone folder, a smooth, cool implement that feels natural in your palm. With the grace of someone who has performed this thousands of times, you press the edges of a dried oak leaf against the paper. The sound is almost imperceptible, a soft, granular friction, like sand shifting on a distant shore. This is the soundtrack of your sanctuary. You watch the light dance over the intricate darkened veins of the leaf, admiring the architecture of nature that you have successfully saved from the winter rot. You find yourself sinking deeper into the chair, the weight of the day falling away as if shed like a heavy cloak. There is no urgency in this room. Time behaves differently here. It stretches and slows, circling around the desk in a warm amber haze. You are not just a scholar, you are a curator of stillness. As you move to the next sheet, you realize that the world beyond these walls could cease to exist, and you would not notice. You have everything you need. The smell of cedar, the flicker of the wick, and the promise of a finished page. Breathe in deeply and slowly. Feel the tension in your shoulders melt away, mirroring the delicate pressed flowers that have long since surrendered their rigidity to become part of your collection. You are here, you are protected, and you are entirely at peace. The candle flame dips slightly, caught in a stray draft that dared to sneak through the heavy velvet curtains, but it quickly stabilizes, casting long, dancing shadows that stretch across the room like quiet companions. You watch the light play against the spines of the leather-bound books lining the wall, volumes of Latin texts, treatises on anatomy, and sketches of flora that you have spent years collecting. In this soft illumination, the room feels alive. It is a protective vessel, a wooden hull navigating the dark, cold sea of a Dutch winter night. You pull your wool coat tighter, not because you are cold, but because the texture of the fabric is comforting against your skin. a reminder of the physical security that surrounds you. You reach into the cedar drawer, the wood cool and smooth under your fingertips. Inside lies the latest batch of specimens, carefully harvested during the waning days of autumn. You pull out a pressed sprig of lavender. It is ghostly pale compared to the vibrant purple it once wore in the sun, yet it retains its shape perfectly. You can still catch the faint, lingering scent of it, a reminder of warm, buzzing afternoons in a garden that now lies buried under layers of frozen earth. As you lift it, a tiny piece of petal detaches, drifting down like a snowflake to rest on the desk. You do not rush to clean it. You watch it land, savoring the stillness of the moment. The fragility of these objects is what makes them precious. They are transient things that you have granted a form of immortality. You lay the lavender on a fresh, cream-colored sheet of paper. Your hands, steady and patient, begin the delicate work of arrangement. You use the bone folder to gently flatten a stubborn stem, pressing down with just enough force to ensure it adheres to the parchment, but not so much that it snaps. There is a profound meditative quality to this. Your mind, usually racing with the complex problems of academic discourse or the anxieties of the changing political climate of the 1640s, begins to quiet. The chaos of the world is replaced by the geometry of the plant. You align the stem with the vertical axis of the paper, mirroring the way it once grew toward the sun. It is a small act, but in the context of this room, it feels immensely significant. As you work, you notice the fine hairs on the underside of a leaf magnified by the low light. They are like a velvet coat designed to protect the plant from the elements, much as these walls protect you. You feel a strange sense of kinship with the specimen. You are both survivors, waiting out the winter in a quiet place. The sound of your own breathing is the loudest thing in the room, a steady, rhythmic sound that keeps time with the scratching of your quill. As you prepare to record the date and location of the find in the lower corner of the page, you write in a small, neat script, the iron gold ink drying to a dark, permanent brown that will outlast the paper itself. The silence is punctuated only by the softest of sounds, the rustle of paper, the tick of the clock on the mantelpiece, the occasional pop of the tallow as it burns. Each sound is a marker of your presence in time. You are not floating, you are anchored. The scent of the cedar is more intense now, mixing with the sharp, acidic tang of the ink. It is a smell that represents knowledge, discipline, and the quiet joy of a life dedicated to observation. You take a moment to look up from the page, letting your eyes rest on the flickering shadows. The world is vast, unpredictable, and often cruel, but within this four-wall sanctuary, you have created a microcosm of order. Everything has its place, everything is cared for. There is no need to worry about what tomorrow brings for tonight. There is only the beauty of this page, the comfort of this light, and the slow, deliberate work of your hands. You feel the weight of the day leave your muscles, settling into the chair with a sigh that is barely a whisper. You are completely at peace in the heart of Leiden. You lean back in your chair, the wood creaking softly in response to your movement, a familiar sound that marks the transition from one task to the next. The candle has burned down slightly, its wick curling into a tiny, glowing crown. You reach out, your fingers tracing the edge of a heavy, leather-bound volume that contains the notes of your predecessors. They too once sat in rooms just like this, sheltered from the damp, whispering about the secrets of the earth. You feel connected to them, a thread of intellectual heritage spanning decades, if not centuries. This continuity is a comfort. You are not alone in your pursuit. You are linked in a long chain of quiet seekers. The work is steadying. It anchors you to the bedrock of human endeavor, providing a perspective that makes the immediate anxieties of 1645 feel distant and manageable. If you have been enjoying this journey into the peaceful scholarly world of 17th century Leiden, we invite you to subscribe to our channel for more tales of history, tranquility, and the art of slow living. Your focus returns to the desk. There is a cluster of alpine flora yet to be processed, delicate, high altitude flowers that still hold the crispness of the mountain air in their fibers. You carefully lift a small gentian. Its blue petals are remarkably stubborn in their color, resisting the fading influence of time. As you place it upon the paper, you recall the expedition to the jagged peaks, where these were harvested. You remember the thin, biting air, the silence of the high slopes, and the absolute clarity of the sky. Bringing those memories here, into the warmth of the study, is like layering worlds. You are weaving the vastness of the natural world into the intimate geography of your notebook. Every movement is a continuation of that journey, now transformed into a sedentary, thoughtful ritual. The bone folder glides over the delicate stem, a practiced motion that requires no conscious thought, only the calm application of pressure. The air in the room remains perfectly still, held in place by the heavy drapes. It is a dense, warm atmosphere, rich with the smell of old paper and the drying plant matter. You find that your breathing has synced with the rhythm of your hands. When you press, you inhale. When you release, you exhale. It's a cycle of renewal. The lamp flickers once more, a brief dancing reminder of the fire's life, and you find yourself mesmerized by the way the shadow of the gentian shifts and stretches across the page. It looks like a ghost of the flower, a secondary image that emphasizes the reality of the specimen itself. You are crafting something that will last long after the candle has burned out and the dawn has grayed the window glass. There is a deep, quiet power in this. You are not seeking fame or wealth. You are simply witnessing the beauty of the world and ensuring it is not forgotten. In an age where so much is volatile, this is an act of absolute stability. You are the master of this small realm, and your authority is absolute. No political upheaval can touch this desk. No winter storm can chill the resolve of your work. You are shielded by the walls of the university and by the sheer encompassing focus of your interest. You reach for your ink pot, the glass cool against your skin. You dip the quill, the nib sliding into the dark liquid with a soft liquid sound. As you prepare to annotate the page, you feel a sense of profound contentment. The world is exactly as it should be. Everything is ordered, everything is catalogued, and everything is safe. Your hand remains steady as you begin to write the Latin name of the flower, the strokes of the pen, precise and elegant, a testament to the clarity of your mind in this moment of perfect solitude. The night deepens, yet you feel no fatigue, only a quiet, rhythmic energy that pulses through the room, keeping time with the beating of your own heart. The ink on the parchment dries to a matte finish, a dark permanent record that you admire for a brief second before turning your attention to the next specimen. It is a cluster of ferns, their fronds intricate and symmetrical, resembling the delicate traceries of frost that you imagine are forming on the glass of the window. You treat them with the utmost care, for they are brittle, prone to shattering if handled with anything less than absolute reverence. You lift them using the very tips of your tweezers, your muscles relaxed but precise, a testament to the hours of practice you have invested in this craft. The study room feels even more insulated now. The silence has thickened, becoming a physical presence that wraps around you like the heavy wool blankets you have draped over the back of your chair. You find yourself observing the microscopic details of the fern, the way the spores are arranged along the underside, a marvel of biological engineering that you have pondered many times during your tenure here at the university. This isn't just botany, it is philosophy. You are documenting the logic of the natural world, the underlying order that persists even when the human world falls into disarray. It gives you a sense of perspective that is both humbling and empowering. You are small, yes, but you are a witness to something eternal. By placing these specimens within the pages of your herbarium, you are participating in that eternity. You are capturing the fleeting grace of a season and binding it to the page. creating a vessel of memory that will survive long after the winter of 1645 has faded into the archives of time. The tallow candle, now significantly shorter, begins to form a small waxen wall around its base. The light it casts is intimate, focused entirely on the small square of your desk, leaving the corners of the study in a comfortable velvety darkness. This transition of light is soothing. It tells you that time is passing, but in a way that feels gentle, natural, and entirely unhurried. You aren't fighting the night, you are working in harmony with it. The faint, sweet smell of the cedar wood drawer where you keep your most precious tools seems to grow stronger in the quiet. It is a grounding scent, a reminder of the forest that once provided the very lumber for this desk. You feel the physical reality of the furniture, the sturdy grain, the solid weight, and it bolsters your own sense of stability. You reach for a small brush to clear away a stray speck of dust from the paper. Your movements fluid and graceful. Everything you do here is a deliberate choice, an act of conscious curation. There is a deep satisfaction in this level of control. Outside, the world may be in flux, with empires rising and falling, and intellectual shifts turning the tide of history. But here the ferns remain, the lavender remains, and the order of the page remains. You are creating a sanctuary, not just of space, but of mind. Every time you set a specimen down, you feel a little more centered, a little more aligned with the quiet, persistent pulse of the earth. The rhythm of the work, the reach, the press, the observation, the notation is a mantra that quiets the static of your thoughts. You have entered a state of flow, where the distinction between the subject of your study and your own identity begins to soften, leaving only the act of doing, the purity of attention, and the warmth of this small golden light. You are perfectly placed, perfectly occupied, and perfectly at ease within the sanctuary of your own making. The stillness of the room is so profound that it seems to vibrate, a low frequency hum that resides somewhere between the tick of the clock and the quiet rustle of the paper. You have moved on to the final specimens of the evening, a collection of field grasses that you gathered during a particularly luminous morning in late September. They are unassuming compared to the vibrant flowers, yet they possess a structural integrity that you have grown to admire deeply. Their long, slender stems require a different kind of handling. They must be laid out with a precise tension, a delicate balance that mirrors their natural posture in the field. You find yourself smiling as you align the first blade, recognizing the simplicity in its form. There is no pretense in a blade of grass, no unnecessary ornamentation. It is pure, functional beauty. As you arrange the grasses, the candle flickers again, throwing a long elongated shadow of your own hand across the far wall. You watch it for a moment, fascinated by the way your shadow mimics your own focused intent. It is as if you are being shadowed by your own dedication, a silent witness to your persistence. You are not alone in your quiet task. You are accompanied by the history of the materials, by the enduring nature of the plants, and by the very atmosphere of this room, which has held the quiet focus of scholars for generations. You feel a deep, abiding respect for this space. It is a crucible of thought, a place where the loud, demanding world is left at the door, and only the essential, the observable, and the true are allowed to enter. Your fingers, now quite adept at the rhythmic motions, move with an almost subconscious confidence. You place a piece of blotting paper over the newly mounted specimen, applying a steady, even pressure with your palm. It is a comforting sensation, the tactile feedback of the paper shifting beneath your hand, the slight resistance of the dried plant. It is a physical dialogue between you and the earth. You are recording what the earth has produced, and in doing so, you are validating its existence. There is a profound sense of purpose in this. It is not an act of extraction, but of remembrance. You are ensuring that these small, beautiful parts of the world are recognized, understood, and preserved for those who will come after you. The air remains warm, held close by the wood-paneled walls and the heavy, light-blocking curtains. The scent of dried lavender, now mixed with the faint metallic tan of the ink and the soft organic smell of the plants, creates a sensory environment that is uniquely yours. It is a cocoon, a sanctuary of scent and shadow. You take a moment to breathe it in, letting it fill your lungs and clear the remnants of the day's intellectual fatigue. Your mind, which earlier felt cluttered with the complex, abstract problems of natural philosophy, is now as clear and ordered as the page before you. The chaos has been pruned away, leaving only the essential. You pick up your quill once more, the nib scraping softly against the parchment as you finish the last of your notations for the evening. The sound is sharp and clean, a definitive statement of completion. You set the quill down in its holder and look over your work. The spread of specimens is balanced, harmonious, and beautiful. It is a landscape of the mind, a map of your journey through the natural world, all contained within the quiet, secure, and infinitely peaceful confines of this Leiden study. You feel a wave of contentment wash over you, a deep, resonant peace that starts in your chest and radiates outward to your fingertips. You have done well. The work is finished. The order is established. And for tonight, you are entirely at rest in the heart of this ancient scholarly sanctuary. The transition from active work to quiet contemplation is a process that you have mastered over years of solitary study. As you push the completed sheets aside to dry, you feel the residual energy of the task settle into your muscles, a pleasant, tired warmth that signals the end of the evening's labor. You stand up, your chair scraping against the hardwood floor with a sound that seems impossibly loud in the silence. Yet it is a comforting noise, an anchor in the vast quiet expanse of the room. You walk to the edge of the desk, your hands brushing the surface, feeling the slight unevenness of the wood grain, the small indentations where your quill has pressed too hard over the years. This furniture is a silent partner in your work, a witness to the evolution of your thoughts and the accumulation of your botanical knowledge. You look out toward the center of the room, where the light of the candle has receded, leaving the bookshelves in a soft, hazy gloom. There is a profound sense of continuity here. You know that tomorrow morning, when the sun finally breaks through the persistent Dutch clouds, the light will hit these same walls, illuminating the dust motes as they dance in the air. The cycle of the day is as reliable as the cycle of the seasons you have spent the evening cataloging. You walk slowly to the window, the heavy velvet curtain feeling cool and thick under your touch. You do not pull it back, for the night is dark and the wind is still howling its mournful song. But you lean your forehead against the glass for a fleeting moment, feeling the sharp, biting cold of the winter night contrasted against the warmth of your own skin. It is a stark reminder of the boundary you have constructed, the threshold between the volatile, freezing chaos of the outside world and the ordered, temperate sanctuary of your study. You are the architect of this peace, and you realize that the safety you feel is not a passive gift, but an active daily maintenance. You return to your seat and sit down, not to work, but simply to exist within the space you have cultivated. You find that the silence is no longer empty. It is filled with the echoes of your own thoughts, the whispers of the dried plants, and the weight of the history that lines these shelves. You reach for a small piece of dried moss, a remnant of a damp, shaded woodland, and hold it in your palm. It is soft, surprisingly resilient, and holds the memory of a dark, hidden corner of the world. By bringing it here, you have given it a new life, a new context. It is no longer just a bit of organic matter. It is a subject of study, a point of connection between the observer and the observed. You feel a deep, abiding respect for these specimens, a recognition of the intelligence inherent in the natural world. Your eyes move across the room, taking in the shelves, There is a sense of accomplishment in the way the volumes are organized, the way the Latin titles are aligned, the way the leather spines have worn down in just the right places. This is not a room of mere collection, it is a room of synthesis. You have taken the disparate, wild, and unruly elements of nature and brought them into a state of logical grace. You have curated the chaos as you sit there. The candle flickers one last time, its light dimming as the wax pulls at the base. You realize that you have reached the end of the night, not just in terms of hours, but in terms of the rhythm you have set for yourself. The fatigue is welcome now, a soft, heavy blanket pulling at your limbs, inviting you to let go of the intellectual labor and simply sink into the quiet. You are in a state of grace, anchored by your work, shielded by your sanctuary, and entirely at peace with the world, as it exists within these four walls. Sleepy History with Theodore is a sleep history storytelling platform created for entertainment, inspiration, education, and the promotion of positive emotional values. The final dying embers of the tallow candle cast long, hypnotic shadows that pulse against the wood panel walls, rhythmic and slow like the steady beat of a resting heart. You remain seated perfectly still, allowing the silence to wash over you. The earlier activity of pressing, labeling, and organizing has left a residue of calm in your mind, a stillness that is almost palpable. You feel the chair cradling you, its familiar curves conforming to your posture, providing a physical sense of contentment. The room has become a sensory vessel, holding the lingering notes of cedar and the faint earthy musk of the botanical collection. You realize that you have moved beyond the need to document or analyze. You are now simply present, existing within the meticulously curated ecosystem you have constructed. This is the reward for your discipline, the ability to sit in the quiet aftermath of a task well done, where every piece of data has found its home and every specimen has been granted its due attention. Outside, the Dutch winter intensifies, the wind whistling a sharp piercing note through the crevices of the ancient masonry. Yet it cannot penetrate this space. The heavy dark wool curtains stand as a testament to the boundary between the wild, unpredictable environment and the sanctuary of your study. You feel a surge of gratitude for these walls, for the thick, protective barrier they provide. They have witnessed decades of study, and they seem to absorb the quietude, reflecting it back to you in waves of tranquil energy. Your gaze drifts to the desk, where the last of the herbarium sheets rest, their surfaces flat and orderly under the cooling candlelight. There is a profound, quiet beauty in the way the specimens have been transformed from biological entities into objects of knowledge. They have been stripped of their wildness and given a place in the intellectual record of the world. You are not just a scholar, you are a caretaker of memory, a librarian of the forest, and a guardian of the seasons. As the candle reaches its final stages, the light retreats, focusing on the very center of your workspace, creating an island of illumination in a sea of shadow. You find the dimming light oddly comforting. It is a signal that the day is complete, that the requirements of your intellect have been met, and that it is time to surrender to the coming darkness. Your eyelids feel heavy, a natural response to the hours of intense narrow focus, and you do not fight it. You lean your head against the back of the chair and let your vision soften, allowing the room to blur into a soft textured landscape of wood, paper, and shadow. The scent of the dried lavender, which had been subtle throughout the evening, now feels more pronounced, a gentle floral exhale from the collection that seems to soothe your senses. It is as if the plants themselves are participating in the transition, releasing their final bit of essence into the quiet air. You feel a profound sense of connection to everything around you. The ink in the bottle, the parchment in the drawer, the wood of the desk, the wool of your coat. They are all part of this moment, all contributing to the sense of safety and order that you have cultivated. You think of the scholars who occupied this room before you, the ones who stared at the same walls, who worked by the same light, and who found the same peace in the pursuit of knowledge. You are merely the latest steward of this space, and you take comfort in that lineage. You are part of something larger than yourself, something that transcends the limitations of time and the fragility of the human life. You are a bridge between the past and the future, a vessel of preservation. The candle flickers one last time, sending a final pulse of warmth toward you before bowing out completely. You are left in the darkness, but it is a soft, welcoming darkness, one that feels safe, deep, and infinitely peaceful. You are home, and you are ready to let the quiet take you fully and completely into the stillness of the night. The darkness that fills the room is not oppressive. Rather, it feels like a heavy velvet cloak settling over your shoulders, inviting you to release the remaining tension in your body. With the candle finally extinguished, the room has been transformed from a workspace into a sanctuary of rest. The lingering scent of cedar and dried lavender feels more intimate now, wrapping around you in the cool air of the study. You remain in your chair, not ready to move just yet, finding that the lingering after image of the flame on your retina is a gentle, fading connection to the work you just completed. You have spent hours in a state of hyperfocus, and now, as the room breathes around you, you begin to unwind. Every fiber of your being feels aligned with the order you have established. The specimens are safe, the pages are pressed, and the knowledge you have captured is preserved within the heart of the library. It is a profound, quiet victory against the chaos of the outside world, a stillness that feels both earned and inevitable. In this state of near slumber, your thoughts drift toward the vast, untamed landscapes from which these specimens originated. You remember the damp, earthy fragrance of the forest floor, the cool, bracing clarity of the mountain air, and the way the sun would filter through the canopy to highlight the hidden life of the meadows. You have brought a piece of that majesty here, distilling it into the form of pressed botanical samples, and in doing so you have bridged the gap between the wild earth and the controlled intellect. The room, with its thick, insulating walls and protective curtains, has become the vessel for these memories. You are the curator of this hidden history, a custodian of the natural world's quiet endurance. This role, while solitary, provides a sense of profound purpose that sustains you through the long, dark nights of the Dutch winter. The weight of your responsibility feels light, like the touch of a feather, yet it is foundational to who you are as a scholar. You recall the specific texture of an oak leaf you handled earlier, the way the veins stood out like a delicate bronzing map, and you can almost feel that texture again in your mind's eye. This tactile memory is a form of meditation. By focusing on these minute details, you have quieted the noisy, analytical side of your brain, allowing a deeper, more intuitive understanding to take hold. This is the true gift of the herbarium. It is a place where the frenetic pace of life slows to the speed of growth, the speed of observation, and the speed of breath. You are no longer rushing toward a conclusion or racing against a deadline. You are simply existing in the present, a state of being that is increasingly rare in the world outside. The silence is a gift, and you are accepting it fully, letting your mind wander through the aisles of your own memory and the shelves of this ancient room. As you sit in the total quiet, you feel the boundaries of yourself expand to include the room itself. The wood-paneled walls are an extension of your own resolve, the books an extension of your curiosity, and the pressed specimens an extension of your reverence for the world. You are fully integrated into this environment. There is no friction, no conflict, no dissonance, only a seamless, tranquil harmony. You feel the cool air of the room against your face, the warmth of your heavy wool clothing, and the steady, grounding rhythm of your own heart. It is the peace of a life lived with intention, a life dedicated to the quiet observation of beauty and the preservation of truth. You are ready now to transition from this state of wakeful contemplation to the deeper, more restorative peace of sleep. Sleepy History with Theodore combines the power of AI to reimagine fictional historical tales, bringing peace, relaxation, and positive emotional values to our listeners. We invite you to continue this journey of tranquility and historical discovery by subscribing to our channel as we explore more stories that honor the beauty of the past and the quiet wisdom of those who sought to preserve it. The silence of the room has deepened into something almost liquid, a tranquil pool in which you can submerge your thoughts completely. You rise from the oak chair, the movement slow and deliberate, as if you are wading through the very quiet you have cultivated. Your body feels heavy, comfortably weighted by the day's labor and the profound stillness of the night. You move toward the corner of the study where a small plush rug sits before the hearth. Though the fire has long since burned down to a fine layer of gray ash, the stones retain a soft, radiating warmth that seeps into your boots. You feel the temperature shift as you cross the room, moving from the cool, stagnant air near the window to the lingering, gentle heat of the chimney breast. This space, too, is a testament to the care you take in maintaining your sanctuary. Every element is intentional. Every placement designed to maximize the comfort and focus of the scholar who resides within. You linger by the hearth, looking up at the high vaulted ceiling that is lost in the shadows. In the absolute dark, your other senses sharpen. You notice the faint crisp smell of wood smoke trapped in the mortar, a sharp elemental contrast to the sweet floral musk of the herbarium. This duality is the essence of your life here, the raw, untamed world outside, and the refined intellectual world you have built within. You feel a sense of profound alignment with your surroundings. You are not just living in this room, you are an essential component of its existence. Without your presence, these books would be mere paper, these specimens merely dead leaves, and the room itself a hollow, unobserved space. Your awareness is what imbues this environment with meaning. It is a heavy responsibility, but in this moment of quiet, it feels like a privilege. You turn your attention to the bookshelves that flank the hearth, tracing the spines with your fingers. The leather is cool and slightly tacky under your touch, the gold leaf lettering worn away in places by centuries of use. Each volume is a gateway, a repository of knowledge that has been filtered through the minds of those who came before you. You think of the scholars in distant cities, the naturalists in the south, the explorers who traveled to lands you will only ever know through the pages of these books. They too felt the same pull toward order, the same desire to capture the ephemeral beauty of the world before it slipped through their fingers. You are part of an unbroken lineage of seekers, and that realization anchors you, providing a sense of scale that diminishes the small anxieties of your own time. The air is incredibly still. Even the house itself seems to have settled. The floorboards no longer ticking under the weight of the night. You feel a sense of completion, a closing of the circle. The work you have done tonight is not just a chore, it is an act of defiance against entropy. By naming, pressing, and recording, you have imposed your will upon the random, chaotic forces of nature. You have built a fortress of understanding, and within its walls you are safe. The sense of security is so total that you feel a wave of genuine, heartfelt relief. You are not rushing toward tomorrow, you are simply resting in the truth of tonight. Your breath, slow and steady, seems to echo the rhythm of the entire study, a heartbeat that is both personal and universal. You are prepared to let the night take hold, to sink into the quiet, and to let your mind drift into the restorative void of sleep, confident that when you awake, the order you have established will remain exactly as you left it. You move with a languid grace toward the heavy oak door that leads to your private sleeping quarters, a small intimate space adjoining the study. As you reach for the iron latch, you pause for a final moment to survey the room you have tended so carefully. The golden glow of the candle is gone, but the moonlight, filtered through the thick, translucent frost on the window pane casts a pale, ethereal light across the workspace. This is a different kind of illumination, cool, silvery, and sharp. It reveals the contours of your desk, the orderly piles of paper, and the silhouettes of the dried specimens resting upon them. They seem to have taken on a life of their own in this spectral light, standing as silent, vigil-keeping sentinels of the natural world. You feel a deep, quiet gratitude for this perspective. The transition from the warmth of the flame to the coolness of the moonlit room perfectly mirrors the transition from the active mind to the quiet soul. You step across the threshold, and the air here is even cooler, clean, and bracing. It smells faintly of lavender and clean, unbleached linen, a stark, refreshing departure from the dense, scholarly atmosphere of the study. You find yourself feeling remarkably light, as if the physical weight of your responsibility as a curator has been left behind in the other room. You have done your duty. The records are updated, the specimens are secure, and the knowledge you have gleaned is safely tucked away. There is nothing left to do but surrender to the overwhelming desire for rest. You sit on the edge of the bed, the mattress soft and welcoming, and you allow yourself to sink back, feeling the crisp, cool sheets pull against your skin. The quiet is absolute here, a profound enveloping hush that seems to isolate you from the rest of the world. As your head rests upon the pillow, you find your mind drifting, not toward the complex intellectual pursuits of the day, but toward the simple sensory memories that have anchored you during your work. You think of the way the sunlight hit the meadow grasses in September, the vibrant, living color of the gentian petals before they were pressed, and the way the wind moved through the leaves in the forest. These memories feel vivid, almost tangible, as if you have invited the natural world into your dreams. The transition from waking thought to dreamscape is smooth, a gentle drift into a deeper state of consciousness. You feel the tension in your legs, your arms, and your shoulders simply dissolving, replaced by a profound heavy comfort that promises a long restorative sleep. The room feels like a protective pod, a safe haven at the very heart of the Leiden University, where the only thing that matters is the preservation of your own peace. You are not a scholar tonight, you are merely a traveler, drifting through the landscapes of your own experience. The cold outside no longer matters. The demands of the university no longer matter. There is only the rhythm of your breath, the softness of the bed, and the immense quiet depth of the night. You feel a sense of profound, unshakable safety. You have built a sanctuary that exists not just in wood and stone, but in the very fabric of your intention. As your eyes close, you know that when you open them again, the sun will be waiting and the work will be there for you. But for now, there is only the beautiful, silent promise of rest. The world is at peace, and so are you. The quiet is no longer a silence you observe, it is a space you inhabit. As you drift on the threshold of sleep, your mind replays the tactile sensations of the evening, the smooth, cool surface of the bone folder, the delicate, brittle resistance of the dried flower petals, and the sturdy, unyielding weight of the desk. You feel each of these sensations not as memory, but as a grounding force, a way of anchoring your consciousness to the physical world, even as you prepare to slip away from it. This transition is not a loss of self, but an expansion. By letting go of the need to control, organize, and categorize, you allow the deeper, quieter parts of your nature to come forward. You are no longer the curator of a herbarium. You are merely a part of the vast, quiet, and enduring landscape that you have spent your life studying. The comfort of the bed and the warmth of the room hold you a safe and steady embrace that promises a profound, dreamless slumber. If you have found solace in this quiet study in Leiden, we encourage you to like and subscribe to our channel, joining our community of dreamers and historians as we continue to explore the peaceful corners of the past. The darkness of your sleeping chamber is soft, an absence of light that feels like an invitation, rather than a void. You feel the coolness of the air on your skin, a refreshing contrast to the warmth of the blankets, and it helps you to sink even deeper into the mattress. Your breathing is slow, rhythmic, and shallow, a perfect steady pulse that mirrors the quiet heartbeat of the house. You can feel the weight of the day, the intellectual strain of the university, the physical labor of the herbarium, and the emotional resonance of your solitude all melting away. It is as if you are shedding a heavy, worn out garment, leaving it at the bedside to be replaced by the lightness of sleep. You are completely untethered, floating in a sea of calm, where time has no meaning, and the only reality is the present, peaceful moment. Your mind continues to drift, painting scenes of the natural world in vivid, impressionistic strokes. You see the forests you have explored, the mountain paths you have climbed, and the meadows where you harvested your specimens, all glowing with a soft internal light. It is a world of stillness and growth, where the seasons move at their own deliberate pace, and the plants you love reach for the sun in a slow, eternal dance. You are an observer, a witness to this beauty, and it brings you a sense of joy that is pure and uncomplicated. There is no struggle here, no effort to capture or preserve. There is only the pleasure of existing within the beauty of the world. You feel yourself sinking deeper, your awareness of the room and the university fading into the background, leaving only the tranquil, luminous landscapes of your imagination. The peace is so absolute that it feels like a physical presence, a gentle pressure that holds you in place and keeps you secure. You are perfectly placed, perfectly at ease, and completely protected by the walls of your sanctuary. There is nothing to fear, nothing to resolve, and nothing to anticipate. The night is a wide open ocean, and you are resting on its surface, drifting toward the distant horizon of morning. You feel a final deep sense of gratitude for the work you have done, for the peace you have cultivated, and for the simple, profound ability to rest in the heart of your own quiet kingdom. The world outside, with all its noise and confusion, has vanished, leaving only the tranquil, beautiful silence of your own soul. You are ready now fully and completely to let go of the last remnants of consciousness and surrender to the deep, restorative grace of sleep, finding rest within the quiet heart of 1645. The darkness within your sleeping quarters is a profound velvet expanse that feels like the softest, most enduring embrace you have ever known. You are no longer anchored by the weight of your scholarly obligations or the specific tactile demands of your botanical collection. Instead, you find your consciousness expanding, reaching outward into the quiet, starlit silence of the Dutch night. It is a state of total surrender, where the boundaries between your physical self and the tranquil space around you begin to dissolve. You can feel the coolness of the air, the gentle texture of the sheets against your skin, and the steady, rhythmic pulse of your own heart, all blending into a single cohesive experience of absolute peace. The world outside the bustling, often chaotic life of the university in Leiden feels like a distant memory, a flicker of light from a long extinguished candle, while the current moment remains an expansive, glowing center of stillness. You find yourself drifting through a landscape that is both familiar and dreamlike, a garden that combines all the places you have ever visited during your botanical expeditions. The air is filled with the scent of pine needles, damp earth, and a faint sweet perfume of wild flowers that have long since been pressed into the pages of your herbarium. But here, in this internal space, they are vibrant and alive, swaying in a gentle phantom breeze. You walk along pathways that seem to wind through the history of the natural world, observing the intricate, delicate patterns of leaves and the complex architectures of flowers as they bloom and unfurl in slow, measured cycles. There is no urgency here, no need to catalog or identify, only the pure, unfiltered joy of being a witness to nature's enduring beauty. You feel a deep, resonant connection to this cycle, an understanding that you are not separate from the natural world, but a part of it, woven into the same tapestry of growth and decay. The sense of security you felt in your study has followed you here, transformed from a physical shelter of wood and stone into an internal sanctuary of the spirit. You are protected by the very depth of your own calm, a shield forged from years of dedicated, quiet observation. The anxieties that once flickered at the edges of your mind, the fear of the future, the weight of the past, the pressure to produce and achieve, have all evaporated, leaving behind a crystalline, untroubled clarity. You are a vessel of peace, holding within yourself the tranquility of the library, the stillness of the midnight, and the profound abiding wisdom of the earth. The silence is not merely an absence of sound, it is a presence, a soft, vibrating energy that sustains you, holding you in a state of suspended restorative grace. As you drift further into this sea of calm, you feel the tension in your limbs completely vanish. Each muscle, each nerve, each fiber of your being is sinking into a state of profound total relaxation. You are not falling into sleep so much as you are becoming one with it, merging your consciousness with the very essence of rest. The quiet of the room feels like a lullaby, a constant soothing hum that resonates in your chest, keeping time with the gentle rhythmic motion of your breath. You are safe, you are held, and you are entirely at peace. There is nothing to be done, nothing to be sought, and nothing to be understood. You have arrived at the destination of your day, a place of perfect final rest where the only reality is the gentle ongoing pulse of your own quiet life. The night is yours to inhabit, a vast open space of potential and tranquility where you can finally truly let go of everything that binds you to the waking world and sink into the blissful, boundless dark. As the night deepens, the air in your sleeping quarters seems to take on a quality of liquid stillness, flowing around you like a gentle tide. You are drifting, your consciousness bobbing on the surface of this quiet sea, moving ever further away from the sharp defined edges of the waking world. The memory of the day, the tactile interaction with the parchment, the scent of the cedar drawers, the steady rhythmic movement of the bone folder, has become a soft glowing nebula of sensation that lights your way into the deepest reaches of the night. You feel the weight of your own body as a comfortable heavy anchor, holding you safely to the earth while your mind begins to wander through the vast, expansive landscapes of your dreams. There is no resistance here, no desire to cling to the tasks that occupied your morning and afternoon. You are ready to release them, to let the current of sleep carry you toward the quiet, infinite horizon. The environment you have cultivated, this sanctuary in the heart of Leiden, is now mirrored within your own mind. The wood panel walls of the study, the shelves packed with the wisdom of the ages, and the carefully labeled herbarium sheets have all been integrated into the architecture of your spirit. You feel a sense of profound internal order that matches the physical organization of your workspace. Your thoughts, which in the waking hours were like a collection of wild scattered seeds, have been carefully gathered and sown into the fertile soil of your consciousness. They are taking root, growing in the quiet, and preparing to bloom in the form of dreams. You feel a sense of harmony that is both deeply satisfying and immensely peaceful, a perfect alignment between your external reality and your internal landscape. Every breath you take feels like an intake of peace, a cooling, refreshing draft that clears the last remnants of the day's intellectual effort. You are not thinking about the university, the politics of the natural philosophers, or the cold wind outside. Those things exist in a different reality, one that feels increasingly distant and irrelevant. You are concerned only with the here and now, the gentle rhythmic expansion and contraction of your own chest, the soft muffling silence of the room, and the deepening comforting darkness that surrounds you. It is a state of total, unadulterated presence, a meditation that has successfully transitioned from the conscious effort of the study to the unconscious, effortless grace of the night. You are the architect of your own serenity, and you have built this space with care and intention, a place where you can always return to find the core of who you truly are. The sense of safety you experience is profound and all-encompassing. You feel the structure of the building, the strength of the stones, the integrity of the timbers, all as if they were a protective shell you have grown yourself. You are at once fragile and indestructible, a delicate flower and the sturdy forest that guards it. This duality is the secret of your peace. You have learned that strength does not come from hardening against the world, but from cultivating the capacity to endure, to observe, and to remain centered amidst the turning of the seasons. As you sink into the final velvet layers of the night, you know that this peace will remain, that it is a constant steady flame that burns in the heart of your life, unextinguished by the wind, the cold, or the passage of time. You are fully and completely at rest, a quiet soul in a quiet city, cradled by the long deep history of the world and the gentle ongoing promise of a new day that is yet to dawn. The transition into the deepest phase of the night is marked by a complete cessation of internal dialogue. The intellectual demands of your position at the University of Leiden, the constant need to synthesize, categorize, and explain the natural world, have finally fallen silent. In their place is a soft humming vibration of existence, an awareness that is stripped of language and theory. You are no longer cataloging the physical world. You are existing within it as a consciousness that is neither constrained by time nor burdened by the necessity of memory. The room around you feels vast, though you know its dimensions by heart. The darkness is thick and comforting, a medium through which you can move with complete freedom, untethered from the concerns that define your daily life. You feel the physical reality of the bed, the linens and the wooden frame, as comforting solid boundaries that define your current sanctuary, providing the necessary support for your spirit to unspool and rest. In this deep, quiet space, the memories of your botanical work take on a life of their own. They appear not as images, but as textures and temperatures. You feel the cool metallic edges of your brush tweezers, the slightly fibrous surface of the cream-colored archival paper, and the brittle, fragile structure of a dried alpine flower. These sensations are imbued with a sense of immense calm, a quiet energy that flows through you, resetting the nervous system that has been so finely tuned throughout the day. You are not just remembering the act of pressing these plants, you are experiencing the essence of their preservation. You have succeeded in creating a form of immortality for these specimens, and that success is now serving as the bedrock for your own personal restoration. The order you have imposed on the botanical world is now being reflected back into the architecture of your own mind, soothing, organizing, and stabilizing your consciousness. As the house settles into the quiet of the middle night, you feel a profound sense of integration. The separation between your internal self and the physical environment of the study seems to thin until it vanishes altogether. You are the room, you are the books, you are the flickering memory of the tallow candle, and you are the persistent, steady pulse of the university's quiet influence. There is no dissonance in this unity, only a grand symphonic silence that resonates in the core of your being. You find that you can breathe deeper than you have all day, drawing in the essence of the peace you have cultivated. Every breath fills you with a sense of capability and endurance, a strength that is derived not from dominance, but from the ability to be still, to observe, and to be present with whatever the night may bring. The security you feel is absolute. The stone walls, the heavy drapes, and the locked door are physical manifestations of your own commitment to safety. You have created a place where you are immune to the external pressures of the outside world, where you are permitted to exist without the need for performance or labor. This is the true nature of your sanctuary. It is a space of unconditional acceptance where you are free to shed the roles you carry throughout the day and simply be the person who exists behind the scholarly mask. You feel the weight of your body finally letting go, a surrender that is both total and sweet. You are floating in the heart of this sanctuary, cradled by the history of the room and the stillness of the night, prepared for the long, uninterrupted restoration that will carry you through to the sunrise. The deep, resonant silence of the room seems to hum with a secret ancient frequency, one that aligns perfectly with the slow rhythm of your own heart. You are suspended in the velvet dark, a state of being where the external world of Leiden has ceased to have any claim upon your attention. There is only the soft, cooling air moving in currents around your bed, the faint, comforting scent of cedar and old paper clinging to your robes, and the profound, heavy ease in your limbs. The labor of the day, the careful, precise work of the herbarium has left you in a state of grace, a quietude that feels earned, like a long, steady walk through a meadow that finally brings you to the edge of a deep, still lake. You are standing at the shoreline now, and before you lies the vast dark expanse of a dreamless restorative sleep. Every sensation of the room, from the solid wood of the furniture to the thick protective weave of the curtains, reinforces your sense of security, building a barrier between you and the worries of the waking world. In this sanctuary, time does not flow in a linear, demanding way. It cycles and pulls, gathering in the corners of the room like shadows. You find that you can revisit the moments of the day at will, not as tasks to be reviewed, but as memories to be savored. You remember the exact satisfying click of the bone folder against the heavy paper, the precise weight of the tweezers in your hand, and the way the light danced through the translucent pressed petals of a spring wildflower. These are not just memories, they are anchors, grounding you in the reality of your accomplishments and the beauty of the natural world you have so lovingly documented. The order you have created is a comfort, a testament to the fact that you have lived with purpose and intention. You are a curator of beauty, a guardian of the fragile remnants of the earth, and tonight you are reaping the reward of that devotion, a peace that is as solid, as enduring, and as quiet as the stone foundations of the university itself. Your mind drifts further into the calm, finding new connections between the things you have studied and the internal state you now inhabit. The way a leaf relies on its veins for structure is, you realize, no different from the way you rely on your routine for your own strength. The way a flower holds its color even after it has been dried and pressed is like the way you hold onto your own purpose even in the cold long winter of your life. This realization brings a smile to your lips, a subtle, relaxed movement that feels entirely natural. You are not a separate entity from the things you study. You are part of the same grand unfolding architecture. This thought provides a profound sense of connection, a feeling of being at home in the world that transcends the physical limitations of your study. You are a part of the history of this place, and this place is a part of you, a symbiosis that is both grounding and sublime. The darkness is no longer a void, but a warm, welcoming presence. It feels as though you are being held by the very room, a gentle pressure that keeps you safe and secure. The worries that once seemed so pressing, the academic rivalries, the shortage of materials, the creeping chill of the winter, all seem insignificant now, dwarfed by the immense quiet dignity of the night. You are a part of a larger, slower, more enduring rhythm. You are safe. You are cared for by the very silence you have cultivated. And as you sink into the final, deepest reaches of your exhaustion, you feel gratitude that is both silent and immense. You are prepared to let go of the last threads of your conscious thoughts, to surrender the weight of your scholarly identity, and to become for a few precious hours simply a resting, peaceful soul, perfectly aligned with the quiet, waiting heartbeat of the world. The silence of the room has become a physical weight, a comforting, heavy blanket that pins you gently to the mattress and secures you within the sanctuary of your own making. You feel the architecture of the house as a protective skin, the thick seasoned timbers and the mortar-laden stone, working in tandem to hold the chaos of the Dutch winter at bay. In this profound stillness, you find that your awareness is no longer localized to your own physical form but has expanded to encompass the room itself. You are conscious of the desk, still holding the day's work, the cedar drawers containing the seeds of future discoveries, and the shelves burdened with the heavy leather-bound history of human inquiry. This is not a room of inanimate objects. It is a living entity, a reservoir of your intent and your dedication. As you breathe, you feel as though you are breathing in the very essence of the library, a quiet, papery breath that sustains your spirit and deepens your sense of belonging. The darkness is now a texture, a soft velvet medium that fills every corner and crevice of your sleeping chamber. It is a relief to be in the dark away from the flickering, demanding flame of the candle and the sharp, analytical light of day. Go out here in the absence of visual stimulus. Your mind is free to wander the internal landscapes you have constructed through years of study. You see the paths you have walked, the forests you have explored, and the meadows you have harvested, all cast in a cool silver moonlight that feels both ancient and new. These images are not merely memories, they are the foundation of your inner life, a source of quiet, enduring strength that you can access whenever the demands of the world become too loud. You have successfully mapped the beauty of the world, and in doing so, you have built a refuge where that beauty can never be touched or diminished by the passage of time or the cold of the season. Your body is responding to the environment, entering a state of total physiological restoration. The tension that has been held in your neck and shoulders throughout the day is dissolving, pouring out of you like liquid as you sink deeper into the comfort of your bed. You feel a sense of profound, unshakable safety, a knowledge that here, in the heart of Leiden, you are exactly where you are meant to be. There is no urgency in this space, no need for the quick, sharp decisions of the natural philosopher or the complex, abstract reasoning of the academic. You are free from the necessity of being anyone other than your simplest self. This release is a profound liberation, a return to the core of your existence, where peace is not an objective to be pursued, but the very air you breathe. You feel a sense of harmony that is both simple and infinite, a perfect resonance with the quiet rhythm of the midnight hour. The night is moving forward, a steady, inevitable progress that carries you along its current, and you find yourself moving with it entirely without resistance. There is a sweetness in this surrender, a knowledge that by letting go, you are not losing anything, but rather gaining the fullness of your own presence. You are part of a lineage of seekers who have valued the quiet, who have found beauty in the minute, and who have recognized that the most important work is often done in the silence. This realization brings a sense of continuity, a bridge between your individual life and the long, slow, enduring history of the pursuit of truth. You feel protected by this heritage, held by the same quietude that held the scholars of the past. And you know that when the sun eventually rises, you will wake with a clarity of purpose that is grounded in the deep, undisturbed rest of tonight. The world is at peace. The university is silent, and you are entirely, safely, and profoundly at home in the heart of your own quiet sanctuary. The midnight hour in Leiden is a profound absolute stillness that seems to suspend the very fabric of time. You find yourself drifting in this liminal space, an observer of your own quietude. The room, with its thick walls and heavy velvet-draped windows, is a fortress of tranquility, a sanctuary where the external pressures of a world in flux are rendered powerless. You are entirely cocooned in a sense of safety that is as tangible as the sturdy oak floorboards beneath the house. Each breath you take is deeper, slower, and more deliberate than the last, acting as a rhythmic tether to the physical reality of the bed while your spirit wanders through the peaceful corridors of your memory. The scent of dried lavender and cedar wood, which has been your constant companions throughout the evening, now serves as the atmosphere of your dreams, a grounding natural perfume that speaks of forest, sunlight, and the slow, deliberate work of preservation. You feel a deep, resonant gratitude for the privilege of this quietude, for the ability to step away from the discourse of the university and simply exist as a part of the natural, enduring order of the world. Your mind, usually so active with the classification of specimens and the interpretation of natural philosophy, is now a serene, unrippled pond. The details of the plant, the intricate venation of the oak leaf, the delicate papery structure of the alpine gentian, and the graceful architecture of the meadow grasses are no longer scientific subjects to be analyzed, but pieces of a beautiful internal mosaic. They represent the interconnectedness of all living things, a web of life that you have spent your life attempting to understand. In this moment of deep, profound rest, you understand that your work is not an attempt to master nature, but an act of homage to it. You are a witness, a collector of beauty, and tonight you are reaping the spiritual reward of that devotion, a peace that is as unshakable as the ancient stones of the library. You are completely untethered from the anxieties that usually dictate your waking hours, the fear of missing a detail, the pressure of publication, the urgency of the academic schedule. These things exist in another realm, a realm you have consciously left behind in the study. The darkness is now your closest ally, a soft enveloping presence that offers no distractions and asks for nothing. It feels as though the room itself is holding you, its walls and beams providing a sturdy, reliable structure for your repose. You are not alone. You are accompanied by the long historical silence of the building, the echoes of those who sat here before you, and the enduring, quiet presence of the specimens you have so carefully preserved. There is a sense of continuity that spans the centuries, a thread of intellectual and spiritual inquiry, that you are merely continuing for a brief, meaningful moment. You are comfortable, you are warm, and you are surrounded by the tangible proof of a life lived with purpose. The rhythm of your breathing is the only clock you recognize, a slow, steady, and inevitable pulse that keeps time with the turning of the earth. As you continue to sink into this profound state of rest, you feel as though you are melting, dissolving the last brittle edges of your identity until you are nothing more than a presence, a resting, peaceful spirit in a quiet city, held fast by the strength of your own sanctuary and a gentle, ongoing promise of a night that is designed for your restoration. You have done your work well, you have earned this stillness, and you are ready, at last, to let go of everything and sleep. The quietude of the night has reached its zenith, a state of absolute, perfect stillness that envelops the study and the sleeping chamber alike in a shroud of peace. You feel your consciousness expanding, moving beyond the physical boundaries of the room to encompass the city of Leiden itself, which lies silent and cold under the winter stars. There is a strange, ethereal beauty in this nocturnal landscape, where the canals are frozen in glass, the cobblestones are dusted with a thin veil of frost, and the university buildings stand as dark, watchful giants against the pale, moonlight-washed sky. You are a quiet observer of this world, safely tucked away in your sanctuary, feeling the profound, unshakable weight of the silence that blankets the landscape. It is a protective, insulating silence, and you are its current steward, the one who remains wakeful in the darkness, not to labor, but to witness the deep, restorative pause that the world takes when the sun has long since departed. If you have been touched by the tranquility of our Leiden study and the gentle art of botanical preservation, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. For your support allows us to continue weaving these stories of historical calm and intellectual wonder for all our listeners. Your body is now so deeply relaxed that you can scarcely feel where you end and the bed begins. It is as if you have become part of the very furniture of the room, an integral component of the sanctuary you have built. The tension of the academic day, the complex, often exhausting effort of translating Latin treatises, the physical strain of mounting delicate specimens, and the mental burden of maintaining the rigor of your herbarium has been entirely replaced by a gentle, flowing energy that circulates through your limbs. You are a vessel of peace, and you find that the deeper you sink into the darkness, the more expansive your sense of calm becomes. You are not losing your identity in this sleep. Rather, you are returning to the purest, most fundamental aspect of yourself, the part that exists before work, before ambition, and before the world's expectations. You are a soul at rest, a quiet flame in a dark room, and you are entirely content with this simple, profound reality. The memories of the day continue to provide a soft, rhythmic backdrop to your descent into sleep. You recall the precise shade of a pressed oak leaf, the way the light catches the intricate lace-like patterns of its veins, and the way the brittle dried lavender petals release their scent when they are moved. These images are the vocabulary of your dreams, a language of nature and preservation that allows you to navigate the deepest regions of your subconscious with ease and grace. You have spent your life studying the world, and now, in the quiet, you are finding that the world is studying you, mirroring back the order, the beauty, and the stillness that you have so carefully nurtured. It is a profound reciprocal relationship, and it grants you a sense of belonging that is both deeply moving and perfectly natural. You are not a stranger to this world, even in the depths of winter. You are a part of it, a thread in the living, breathing, and occasionally resting tapestry of existence. As the night continues its steady, rhythmic progress, you find that your breathing has become almost imperceptible, a gentle, shallow tide that keeps time with the sleeping universe. You are at the very center of your sanctuary, protected by the history of the house, the strength of the stones, and the depths of your own hard-won peace. The outside world, with all its chaotic demands, has lost all meaning. It is a ghost of a reality that can no longer touch you. You are in the heart of the heart, the quietest, safest, and most beautiful place in the world, and you are ready to surrender the final remnants of your wakeful mind to the deep blue and infinitely restorative grace of the night. You are ready to dream, ready to rest, and ready to wake to the promise of a new quiet morning, held fast by the memory of the work you have done and the absolute unwavering tranquility you have achieved tonight in Leiden. The atmosphere within your sanctuary has settled into a profound, crystalline clarity, as if the very air itself has been purified by the silence of the late night. You feel a sensation of weightlessness, an emancipation from the physical concerns that have occupied your muscles and mind throughout the daylight hours. The bed, once a simple object of utility, now feels like a vessel, a cradle that supports your spirit as it drifts along the gentle currents of the midnight hours. You are no longer conscious of the cold that persists just beyond the thick, heavy curtains of your study, nor are you aware of the passage of time as it ticks away on the mantelpiece. Instead, you are existing in a state of suspended animation where every moment is a rounded, complete, and infinitely precious whole. The silence is not merely an absence of noise. It is a rich textured presence that feels like a soft, velvet weight against your senses, a tactile reminder of the peace you have so carefully cultivated. You find yourself revisiting the tactile memories of the herbarium with a new, heightened sensory awareness. The image of the bone folder is vivid in your mind, its surface smooth and cool, the perfect tool for the delicate geometry of plant preservation. You can recall the exact resistance of a stiff, dried stem as you guided it onto the page, the delicate rustle of a petal that was almost too fragile to touch, and the way the iron gold ink looked as it dried into a deep, permanent obsidian on the cream-colored paper. These are not merely tasks. They are a liturgy of preservation, an act of faith in the endurance of the natural world. By cataloging these pieces of the earth, you have asserted that beauty matters, that order is a virtue, and that the quiet work of a scholar is a fundamental necessity in an often chaotic, unpredictable world. This sense of meaning acts as a warm, radiating core within your chest, a source of internal heat that sustains you as the winter night deepens and the house cools around you. As your thoughts continue to untether from the specific details of the day, you begin to experience the room not as a series of objects, but as a holistic living environment. The shelves, the desk, the drawers, and the floorboards all contribute to a feeling of being shielded by history. You are not the first person to seek refuge in this study, and you certainly won't be the last. There is a comfort in this continuity, a sense that the quietude you are experiencing is a shared, inherited experience. The scholars of the past, who sat in this exact chair and labored under this same light, have left behind a residue of calm, an intellectual and emotional imprint that you feel in the very texture of the room. You are not alone in your devotion to the quiet life. You are part of a long, distinguished tradition of those who have found that the most important truths are only audible in the silence. This realization fills you with a deep, humble sense of gratitude. The deeper you sink into the darkness, the more the external world feels like a distant, irrelevant rumor. You are fully anchored in the present, a state of being where the past is a lesson and the future is a dream. And only the current quiet pulse of your own existence carries any weight. The rhythm of your breathing is the only thing that links you to the ticking of the clock. And even that is slowing down, becoming soft, shallow, and perfectly synchronized with the stillness of the room. You feel your heartbeat slowing, becoming a distant steady thrum that resonates in your quiet sleeping chamber. Every nerve is turning off, every muscle is relaxing, and every thought is fading into the comfortable, welcoming dark. You are entirely at home, entirely secure, and entirely at rest, a quiet soul resting in the heart of a city that sleeps with you, protected by the sturdy walls of your sanctuary and the infinite restorative grace of the night. The profound stillness of the hour has now descended like a mantle, completely insulating you from the world beyond these walls. You are adrift in a sea of absolute serenity, where the boundaries of the self have blurred into the shadows of the room. The transition from the focused, scholarly intensity of your work to this state of total meditative rest is a testament to the discipline you have forged over the years. You have learned that the mind, much like the delicate specimens you preserve, requires a specific environment to remain vibrant and intact. You have constructed this sanctuary not merely for storage, but for the cultivation of the soul. And tonight, the reward of that labor is a peace, so complete it feels tangible. You can feel the coolness of the air on your skin, a refreshing contrast to the warmth of the heavy wool blankets, and this sensation serves as a gentle grounding tether that keeps you connected to the physical reality of your sleeping quarters, even as your consciousness expands into the deep welcoming void of the night. Every aspect of your surroundings speaks of a life lived with careful, quiet intention. The way the shadows fall across the wood panel walls, the faint rhythmic creaking of the floorboards as the house breathes in the cold air, and the lingering sweet aroma of the dry botanical collection. All these elements are harmonious parts of a greater whole. You are no longer cataloging these things, no longer analyzing their function or their history. You are simply allowing them to exist, and in doing so, you are allowing yourself to exist alongside them. This is the ultimate freedom, the release of the need to understand or to organize, and the simple acceptance of being. The intellectual rigors of the university, which often feel like a heavy weight throughout the day, have been set aside, left to rest alongside the quill and the inkwell, and you are free to exist in the uncomplicated simplicity of the now. Your memories are no longer sharp or urgent. They have softened into a dreamlike impressionistic tapestry. You feel the tactile memory of the leaves you work with, their varying textures from the waxy, smooth surface of a laurel leaf to the rough sandpaper like grit of an oak, as a series of gentle vibrations in your awareness. You are tracing the patterns of the natural world in your mind's eye, following the paths of veins and the symmetry of petals, and finding that this internal tracing is a form of deep restorative sleep in itself. You have captured the essence of the forest and the meadow, distilled them into the silent beauty of your collection, and now that beauty is returning to you, filling the quiet space of your mind with a sense of order and grace that is as old as the earth itself. It is a profound cyclical relief, a way of knowing that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed and preserved for the next quiet, wakeful moment. As the darkness reaches its deepest, most velvet phase, you feel the final remnants of your conscious alertness dissolving. There is no fear in this dissolution, only a sense of profound natural release, akin to a leaf finally letting go of its branch in the autumn. You are sinking gently and without resistance into the very center of your being, where the quiet is absolute and the peace is infinite. You are fully and completely cared for by the sanctuary you have built. The sturdy timbers and stone walls are your protectors. The quiet history of the scholars who preceded you is your company, and the deep abiding order of the natural world is your foundation. You are at rest, you are at home, and you are ready to surrender to the long, beautiful sleep of the winter night, fully confident that when you emerge, the world will still be there, waiting for you to observe its beauty once more. But for now, there is only the silence, the rest, and the perfect, uncomplicated grace of being alive. The silence of the midnight hours in Leiden has deepened into a primordial, heavy substance that seems to fill the very air of your sleeping chamber, muffling the world outside into total insignificance. You find yourself suspended in a state of grace, a quietude so profound that you can hear the faint rhythmic expansion of the house's timbers as they settle against the biting frost of the night. You are no longer the scholar who meticulously labels and catalogues the wonders of the botanical world. You have become a part of that world, a living, breathing component of the very ecosystem you have spent your life studying. The boundaries of your physical form feel thin, permeable, and light, as if you could easily drift out into the quiet corridors of the university or into the frozen silvered gardens beyond the walls. You are entirely at ease, cradled by the soft, dark velvet of the night, and you feel the weight of your day, the mental strain of your research, the physical fatigue of your labor, and the lingering echoes of your responsibilities dissipating into the cool, still air. Your consciousness is now a calm, unruffled mirror, reflecting only the immediate sensory reality of your sanctuary. You can feel the weight of the thick wool blanket against your legs, the refreshing coolness of the pillow against your temple, and the slow, deep cadence of your own breathing. Each inhale is a gift, a subtle rhythmic intake of the scent of dried lavender and old dust-touched paper, and each exhale is a release of the final residual tension held in your muscles. There is a profound quiet beauty in this surrender. You have spent years demanding clarity, precision, and order from the world. And now, in this moment of absolute, undisturbed rest, you are finally allowing yourself to receive the same from the universe. You are not searching for knowledge tonight. You are practicing the wisdom of stillness. The knowledge you have gathered is safe, tucked away in the drawers and the folios of the study, and it will remain there, preserved and enduring, while you take this necessary, restorative pause. In the depths of this sleep-filled space, the memories of your botanical work take on a vivid, almost dreamlike quality. You feel the ghost of the brass tweezers in your hand, not as a tool of labor, but as a bridge between your mind and the delicate architecture of a pressed specimen. You recall the precise, brittle texture of a dried alpine flower, the intricate, lace-like patterns of a fern's underside, and the faint, sweet memory of the sunlight that fed these plants during their vibrant, living days. These images are not burdens, they are treasures, stored in the quiet inner vault of your spirit, and they act as a gentle guiding light as you sink further into the darkness. You are not afraid of the void. You are moving into it with a sense of complete confidence and trust, knowing that this void is the source of all renewal. You have cultivated a life of purpose, a life of observation, and now you are experiencing the quiet, inevitable cycle of rest that follows such dedication. The night is moving through its long, slow arc, and you are traveling with it, entirely without resistance or desire to change the pace. You are a part of the grand historical rhythm of this city, a quiet student of the world's enduring beauty, and you are held fast in the heart of your own home. The stone walls around you, the sturdy doors, and the very foundation of the university itself are all working in concert to ensure your safety and your peace. You feel a deep, resonant sense of belonging, a knowledge that you are exactly where you are meant to be, doing exactly what you are meant to do. There is no urgency to the tomorrow that waits behind the window pane. It is a promise, a future that will reveal itself in its own time. For now, there is only the present, the deep velvet darkness, the soft rhythmic hum of the quiet house, and the blissful infinite potential of the rest you have earned. You are letting go of the last threads of your conscious identity, surrendering to the deep blue and infinitely restorative grace of the night, fully prepared to be washed clean by the coming of the dawn. The midnight air in your sleeping quarters has attained a quality of crystalline, almost liquid stillness, an environment so pure that it feels like you are breathing in the very essence of the stars themselves. You are anchored in this space, a quiet, stationary point at the center of a turning world. The room is no longer just a collection of wood and mortar. It has become an extension of your own nervous system, a protective shell that mirrors the order you have labored to impose upon your collection of specimens. You feel the coolness of the air on your face, a subtle, bracing sensation that contrasts beautifully with the profound, enveloping warmth of your bed. This duality, the sharp, bracing edge of the winter night and the deep, nourishing comfort of your refuge, is the very definition of your life here in Leiden. It is a life of calculated, intentional contrast, where the effort of scholarly pursuit is perfectly balanced by the deliberate meditative act of rest. You have achieved a form of mastery not just over your subject matter, but over your own capacity for peace. Your thoughts, which have been sharpened to a point by hours of meticulous classification and documentation, are now beginning to fray at the edges, dissolving into a soft, glowing haze. It is a gentle, painless unraveling, a release of the mental structures that have governed your consciousness throughout the long, productive day. You feel the memory of your brass instruments, the forceps, the bone folder, the magnifying lens, not as tools, but as extensions of your own intent, and you are letting go of that intent now, allowing it to rest upon the desk alongside your unfinished pages. The work will wait. It is a comforting realization, a testament to the stability of the system you have created. Your research is secure, your records are in order, and the history you are preserving is safe from the entropy of the outside world. This security allows you to surrender completely to the night, knowing that you have fulfilled your duty and that the world will be there to meet you when you wake. You find yourself drifting through a landscape of quiet internal imagery, a dreamlike progression of all the plants and specimens you have encountered over the decades. You see the vibrant deep green of the forest canopy, the intricate crystalline patterns of frost on a winter petal, and the delicate sweeping curves of meadow grass, all rendered in the soft monochromatic light of your imagination. It is a visual catalogue of wonder, a testament to the infinite variety of the natural world that you have dedicated your life to understanding. There is no urgency in these images. They are slow, unfolding, and perfect, and they fill your mind with a sense of profound, quiet contentment. You are a witness to the beauty of the earth, and in return, the earth is granting you the stillness you need to endure the long, dark nights of the Dutch winter. This reciprocal relationship is the foundation of your strength, a deep seated, unshakable belief that there is beauty to be found even in the most quiet, solitary corners of existence. As the night continues to deepen, the sense of being held by the house becomes more pronounced. You can feel the weight of the stone walls, the integrity of the heavy timber framed roof, and the stubborn, enduring presence of the building itself, all of which seem to be protecting you from the swirling, chaotic energy of the outside world. You are in a sanctuary, a place of peace, and you are deeply, fundamentally safe. There is no part of you that is anxious, no corner of your mind that is still reaching out for more information or more progress. You are fully and completely arrived at the destination of your day, a state of profound total rest where the only reality is the gentle, steady heartbeat of your own existence. You are letting go of the last fragile tethers of your wakeful mind, sliding into the soft, velvet dark with a sense of complete and utter grace, ready to be restored, refreshed, and renewed by the long, deep slumber that awaits. The world outside your window has faded into a vast, indistinct blur of shadow and cold, but within the walls of your sanctuary, the atmosphere is vibrant with the residual heat of a day well spent. You are currently suspended in the most delicate phase of the night, where the transition from conscious thought to the deep, dream-wrought landscapes of sleep is as subtle as the falling of a leaf. You feel your own breath as the only movement in the room, a rhythmic, cooling presence that drifts through the darkness and returns to you, carrying the scent of cedar, beeswax, and the faint, dry musk of pressed flowers. This, you realize, is the ultimate manifestation of your life's work. Not the dusty volumes on the shelves or the labeled specimens in the drawers, but this profound internal architecture of peace that you have constructed. You have mastered the art of being, and in this moment, that mastery is complete. There is no desire to reach for the future, no inclination to dwell on the past. You are entirely anchored in the present, a fixed, tranquil point around which the universe slowly turns. Your body, long accustomed to the rigorous, repetitive demands of your scholarly duties, is now experiencing a profound, systemic release. The muscles in your arms and shoulders, which have spent years tensed against the delicate, precise movements required for mounting specimens, have finally succumbed to the gravitational pull of the earth. You feel as though you are sinking into the very fabric of your bed, a sensation that is not an end but an expansion. You are merging with the environment. The sturdy oak frame of the bed, the thick hand-woven linens, and the protective, heavy curtains that insulate the chamber are no longer separate from you. They are participants in your rest. You are a part of the house, and the house in turn is a part of the enduring, quiet history of the city of Leiden. This realization brings a sense of continuity that is both humbling and profoundly reassuring. You are a successor to generations of thinkers who understood that the true power of the mind is only unleashed when the body is allowed to find its natural, quiet equilibrium. The images that flit through your mind as you drift deeper are no longer controlled or catalogued. They are wild, free-flowing, and beautiful. You see the intricate, microscopic structures of leaves, their veins, their cells, their stomata, not as subjects for the magnifying lens, but as constellations of living light. You see the deep, verdant greens of the spring meadows and the stark, elegant whites of the winter frost, shifting and merging in a fluid, dreamlike geometry that transcends the limitations of paper and ink. You are experiencing the natural world in its purest, most essential state, stripped of the nomenclature you have spent a lifetime applying. It is a liberating experience, a return to the wonder you felt when you first encountered the mysteries of the flora, long before you understood their names or their taxonomical classes. You are discovering, once again, that the act of observing is in itself an act of creation, and you are creating a world of infinite peace within the sanctuary of your own closing eyes. As the night continues its slow, rhythmic descent, you feel the final stubborn barriers of your personality, your worries, your expectations, your scholarly pride, dissolving into the velvet dark. You are reaching the core of your existence, a place where you are neither a professor nor a curator, but a simple resting consciousness in the heart of a city that sleeps with you. The security you feel is absolute. The stone walls, the locking mechanisms of the door, and the very foundation of the university are your guardians, and you are trusting them with the sanctity of your repose. There is nothing left to be done, no further pages to be turned, no more ink to be spilled, and no more questions to be answered for today. You are fully and completely at rest, a quiet soul in a quiet city, cradled by the long, deep history of the world and the gentle, ongoing promise of a new dawn that will find you restored, refreshed, and ready once more to engage with the beautiful, unfolding mysteries of the natural world. The depth of the night has reached a state of near absolute stillness, a silence so heavy and profound that it feels like a physical blanket pressing down upon the entire city of Leiden. Inside your small private sleeping chamber, the air has grown cool and sharp, carrying with it the faint comforting fragrance of stored parchment, dried herbs, and the faint lingering scent of the candle that once burned on your desk. You lie motionless, feeling the immense stability of the building around you. It is as if you are nestled in the very heart of a stone-wrought fortress, protected from the biting winds and the turbulent, unpredictable nature of the world outside. Your breath is the only sound in the room, a gentle, rhythmic tide that seems to sync perfectly with the slow rotation of the world. You have reached a point where the distinction between your own physical form and the room itself has become blurred. You are the stone, you are the timber, and you are the quiet, steady pulse of history that permeates this space. Your mind is now completely detached from the scholarly pressures of the daylight, the complex taxonomies, the pressing demands of your university colleagues, and the fragile, delicate state of your collection have all receded into a soft, distant background, much like the fading echoes of a bell. In their place is a crystalline awareness of the present, an exquisite sensitivity to the textures of your sanctuary. You can feel the precise weight of the heavy blankets, the softness of the linen sheets, and the solid, unyielding support of the bed frame. These sensations are not merely physical, they are grounding, anchoring you to this exact moment in time, a moment that exists entirely outside of the linear progression of days and weeks. You have created this space as a bastion against the chaos of the world. And now, as you fully surrender to the darkness, you are receiving the ultimate reward of that labor. A peace that is absolute, unburdened, and perfectly, beautifully still. As you sink into the deepening pools of your consciousness, the memories of your botanical work transform into something far more abstract and evocative. The images of leaves, stems, and flowers, once subjects of rigid scientific analysis, now flow through your thoughts like a gentle meandering stream. You see the veins of a leaf as if they were the rivers of a vast uncharted landscape. You perceive the delicate paper-thin structure of a petal as the embodiment of beauty itself. You realize in this dreamlike state that your work was never merely about preservation, it was about connection. By documenting these fragments of nature, you are creating a bridge between yourself and the living, breathing world, a way of affirming your own existence through the observation of beauty. This realization fills you with a profound sense of completeness. You are not a collector of dead things. You are a guardian of the essential, a keeper of the stories that nature writes in the language of growth and change. The security you feel in this moment is unparalleled. It is a deep foundational trust in the stability of your environment and the consistency of your own character. You have spent your life building this identity layer by layer, page by page, and now, in the heart of the winter night, that identity is your greatest comfort. You know exactly who you are, where you are, and why you are here, and that knowledge creates an unshakable peace. There is no anxiety, no need to perform, no compulsion to justify your existence. You are allowed, in this small, quiet chamber, to simply be. As the darkness continues to thicken, you feel your conscious thoughts beginning to dissolve, turning into the soft velvet silence of a dream that has not yet begun. You are ready to let go, ready to slip away from the constraints of your body and your history and to float in the vast open ocean of the night, entirely safe, entirely at home, and fully prepared to rest in the arms of the silence you have so carefully nurtured. The deepest hour of the night has arrived, a time when the world feels suspended in a delicate, breathless equilibrium. You are cradled within the stillness of your sleeping chamber, where the very atmosphere seems to have thickened with the weight of centuries, pressing gently against the walls of the University of Leiden as if to keep the chaotic world at bay. You feel yourself drifting, a small quiet vessel navigating the vast dark sea of your own consciousness. The physical discomforts of the day, the lingering ache in your joints from hours spent leaning over your desk, the persistent dryness of your eyes, the subtle fatigue in your hands have all been erased, replaced by an expansive flowing sensation of lightness. You are no longer anchored by the responsibilities of your station or the relentless ticking pace of the clock on the mantel. Instead, you are existing in the pure, unadulterated present, where every breath is an opportunity to deepen your connection to this profound interior silence. Your surroundings, though, veiled in the absolute darkness of the winter night, remain vivid in your mind's eye. You can visualize the exact arrangement of your herbarium cabinets, the way the cedarwood drawers are stacked with a satisfying architectural precision that mimics the order you find in the natural world. You can feel the phantom texture of the parchment you used today, its cream-colored surface marked by the precise dark lines of your inkwork, capturing the ephemeral beauty of a wildflower that will never bloom again. These memories are not burdens, they are the bedrock of your peace, proof that you have lived a life of purpose and intention. You have translated the fleeting wonders of the meadows and forests into a language that can be understood, and in doing so, you have carved out a space in the world where beauty can be guarded, nurtured, and preserved against the ravages of time. This is a powerful grounding thought, and it radiates through your spirit, keeping you warm even as the chill of the night deepens beyond the heavy velvet-lined curtains. As the silence grows, your mind begins to wander into the landscapes of your dreams, a place where the rules of the physical world no longer apply. You see the forests you once walked through, but they are transformed, bathed in an ethereal, soft light that brings out the hidden radiant energy of every leaf, root, and stem. There is no decay here, no passage of time, only an eternal vibrant state of being. You find yourself walking along the forest floor, observing the intricate, complex patterns of the moss, the delicate, translucent structures of the fungi, and the way the trees reach for the sky in a slow, majestic, and silent dance. It is a world of absolute, unclouded wonder, and you are its silent, reverent witness. There is no struggle in this dream space, no need to classify or label, only the pure, unfiltered joy of existence. This internal visionary world is a testament to the depth of your own inner life, a source of resilience that has sustained you through every challenge and every long, cold winter. The security you feel in this moment is complete. You are fully and entirely protected by the walls of your sanctuary, which stand like a silent, unwavering sentry against the darkness. You know that you are safe. The structure of your house, the strength of your routine, and the quiet, enduring power of your dedication all work in concert to ensure that you are never truly lost, even in the deepest, most immersive phases of your rest. You have learned the lesson of the plants, Their survival depends on their ability to conserve energy, to turn inward, and to wait for the return of the sun with patience and grace. You are embodying this lesson now. A quiet soul in a quiet city, letting go of the last faint remnants of your identity as a scholar and a curator. You are ready to sink fully into the abyss of the night, confident in the knowledge that this rest is not a void, but a foundation, a necessary and beautiful preparation for the life that will begin again at dawn. You are home, you are held, and you are at peace. The sanctuary of your sleeping quarters has reached a state of transcendental quietude, a silence so profound that it seems to vibrate with the sheer potential of existence itself. You are drifting, your consciousness an unmoored leaf upon a lake of dark, cooling water, moving with the gentle, rhythmic currents of a night that refuses to be hurried. The physical world of Leiden, the stone of the university foundations, the frozen canals, the sleeping streets, has faded from your awareness, replaced by the internal luminous geography of your own heart. Go out here. The air is not just air, but a thick, comforting mantle of stillness that wraps around your form, shielding you from the harsh, biting realities of the outside world. You feel no cold, only the profound protective embrace of the shelter you have spent your life constructing, a sanctuary of wood, stone, and silence where the relentless demands of the scholarly life are finally utterly stilled. In this, the deepest watch of the night, you are no longer the curator of botanical specimens, you are the repository of their essence. The memory of the flora you have gathered, the delicate pressed ferns from the damp, shaded valleys, the hardy, resilient blossoms from the sun-drenched alpine meadows, the strange geometric wonders of the marsh grasses all exist within you now, woven into the fabric of your thoughts. They are no longer subjects of study, they are companions in the dark, a silent assembly of beauty that you have invited into the sacred space of your rest. You can perceive the intricate, vein-like patterns of the leaves as if they were a map of your own soul, an intricate system of nourishment and growth that mirrors the way you have lived your life. You have honored these specimens with your attention, and in this deep, restorative sleep, they are honoring you with their stillness, providing a model of how to exist in the quiet, of how to endure the darkness with grace and without the need for constant outward manifestation. The architecture of your mind, which has been sharpened over decades of rigorous academic labor, is now unfolding in the most beautiful, organic way. You find that you can access the memories of your youth, the early tentative steps into the world of natural history, and feel them as a warm, radiating presence in your core. The wonder you felt as a child, discovering the hidden patterns in the bark of an oak or the symmetry of a flower, is reclaimed here, stripped of the pressure to categorize or explain. You are returning to that pure, unadulterated state of curiosity, a state where there is no right or wrong, only the pure joy of being a witness to the marvelous, unfolding complexity of the world. This is the ultimate quiet luxury of the scholar, to arrive at the end of a long life and discover that the most important truth was the one you held from the very beginning, that the world is a wonder, and you are a part of it, not just an observer. As you sink ever deeper, the boundaries of your physical self continue to dissolve, and you find yourself merging with the very structure of the room. The sturdy timber beams of the ceiling, the thick, hand-carved panels of the walls, and the solid, reliable stone of the floor all feel like extensions of your own bones and sinew. You are not trapped within these walls, you are supported by them. They are the frame for your existence, the guardian of your rest, and a vessel of your memory. You are profoundly, deeply safe. The anxieties that once seemed like giants, the fear of a misplaced note, the pressure of a deadline, the weight of professional reputation, are now seen for what they truly are, small, inconsequential whispers in the face of the vast, eternal, and silent night. You have let them go, one by one, and in their place, you have found a limitless, airy freedom. You are a quiet spirit in a quiet city, cradled by the long, deep history of the world, perfectly, beautifully, and unconditionally at home. The profound silence that defines the deep hours of the night in Leiden has become an immersive environment, a vast, velvety ocean in which you are drifting with total unencumbered ease. The intensity of your scholarly focus, which usually acts as a sharp guiding light throughout your waking days, has now softened into a warm ambient glow that permeates the very marrow of your bones. There is no longer any separation between your intellectual life and your physical rest. You are a single, unified being existing in a state of perfect harmony with the stillness around you. The room, with its thick, cedar lined walls and the heavy, protective curtains that seal out the frost of the Dutch winter, is no longer just a physical space, but a sanctuary of the soul. You can feel the weight of the building's history, the echoes of those who once sought the same sanctuary in this quiet city, and it provides a comforting, ancestral layer of security that holds you fast in the dark. Your breathing has slowed to the point where it is almost rhythmic, a gentle, barely audible pulse that dictates the cadence of the silence itself. Each inhale brings with it the faint, lingering, and incredibly comforting scent of your botanical library. The dry, papery essence of pressed leaves, the deep, earthy musk of roots, and the sweet, fading perfume of dried flower petals. These scents are the markers of your life's work, the tangible proof of the thousands of hours you have spent in communing with the natural world. They are more than just memories, they are the substance of your dreams, forming the foundation of a landscape that is both familiar and profoundly beautiful. You're walking through the meadows of your past, not as a scientist looking for categories, but as a wanderer seeking the essence of beauty, and the experience is overwhelmingly, exquisitely peaceful. There is no urgency to catalog, no pressure to analyze, only the pure, transcendent joy of being a part of this infinite blooming tapestry. In this deep, restorative state, the memories of your instruments, the bone folders, the brass forceps, the finely tipped quills have lost their metallic functional edge and become symbols of your devotion. You recall the precise weight of the bone folder, the way it glided across the surface of the archival paper, and you see it not as a tool, but as a bridge, a way of grounding the ephemeral beauty of the natural world into a form that could be kept, studied, and loved. You realize that your entire life, in its quiet, methodical way, has been an act of love, a persistent attempt to catch the beauty of the world before it faded, and to give it a home where it could endure. This realization acts as a soothing, rhythmic vibration in your chest, a sense of rightness that reaffirms your place in the world. You have lived well, you have worked with a pure and steady intent, and you are now reaping the silent, bountiful harvest of that dedication. As the night nears its final, most silent phase, you feel the last remnants of your conscious self, the worries, the plans for tomorrow, the lingering questions about your research, dissolving like mist under the rising sun. You are letting go of everything that makes you a scholar, a professor, or a citizen of this city, and you are becoming simply a presence, a quiet, resting spark in the heart of a city that sleeps in tandem with your own spirit. The darkness is no longer a void, but a warm, welcoming presence, a soft velvet medium that protects you from the harshness of the outside world. You are deeply fundamentally secure, and you are allowed in this small, quiet sanctuary to simply be. You are a part of the long, slow, and ancient rhythm of the night, a rhythm that knows no stress, no doubt, and no end. You are perfectly, beautifully at rest, ready to sink into the deepest, most restorative slumber, and you are waiting with the quiet patience of the earth itself for the first pale promise of the dawn to arrive. The stillness of the Leiden night has reached a depth that is almost absolute, a silent, heavy pressure that envelops your entire sanctuary, like a warm, protective shroud. Within this, the most profound hour of your rest, the boundaries between your physical self and the architecture of the room have ceased to exist in any meaningful way. You are no longer a separate thinking entity observing the darkness. You have become the darkness, a part of the quiet, expansive void that holds everything in its gentle, unyielding grasp. The floorboards, the heavy handcrafted desk, the cedar shelves laden with your lifelong collections. All of these elements are now part of your extended physical awareness, a complex, sturdy structure that keeps you insulated from the chaotic, freezing reality of the winter outside. You feel the structural integrity of the house as if it were the strength of your own bones, a foundation that allows you to release all effort, all tension, and all thought, sinking into a state of total, serene surrender. In this sanctuary of shadows, your mind is liberated from the relentless academic necessity of categorization. The hundreds of specimens you have painstakingly prepared, the delicate mosses, the resilient lichen, the intricate skeletonized veins of autumn leaves, are no longer scientific specimens to be analyzed. They have become memories of texture, light, and scent, a sensory tapestry that weaves through your subconscious with the effortless grace of a river current. You remember the sensation of the bone folder moving with precision across the heavy archival paper, the way it created a smooth, perfect crease that felt like a tactile promise of endurance. You remember the smell of the dried lavender, a scent that seems to have permeated the very wood of the bookshelves, offering a constant low-level aroma of summer even in the dead of this dark winter. These are not merely objects, they are anchors, physical testaments to a life lived in reverence of the natural world, and they provide a deep resonant sense of comfort that keeps your spirit tethered to a source of enduring quiet joy. The intellectual weight of your daily life, the complex, often draining dialogues with students, the dense, scholarly treatises that demand every ounce of your attention, the constant shifting challenges of the university hierarchy has been entirely dissolved. You are no longer the professor. You are simply the soul who resides within, the one who knows that the most profound wisdom is often found in the things that remain unsaid and the work that is done in the deepest silence. This realization is the culmination of your life's philosophy, a final beautiful convergence of your academic rigor and your human need for repose. You are not losing yourself in this sleep. You are returning to a more fundamental version of your own being, one that exists before the titles and the responsibilities, one that is perfectly, elegantly sufficient in its own right. You are a quiet, flickering light in a world of shadows, a beacon of calm in a city that sleeps in honor of the darkness. As the night continues its slow, inevitable arc toward the dawn, you feel your conscious awareness becoming thinner, more ethereal, almost like a thin layer of smoke drifting across the room. You are not afraid of this thinning. You are welcoming it as a release, a way to move beyond the limitations of the physical world and into a state of pure, unrestricted being. You are fully and absolutely secure, shielded by the history of this place and the strength of the life you have carved out within it. There is no anxiety, no lingering question, no unfulfilled duty that remains to pull you back to the waking world. You are permitted, at long last, to let go of the control you have maintained for so many years and to simply fall, drifting into the deep blue and infinitely restorative abyss of the night. You are held by the universe, cradled by the history of those who rested here before you, and surrounded by the tangible, fragrant proof of a life dedicated to beauty. You are ready to dream, ready to be refreshed, and ready to let the silence carry you through the final quiet hours until the morning light begins to touch the frosted window panes of your home. The night has matured into a seamless, eternal expanse, a velvet void that offers a sanctuary of such density and purity that you feel yourself dissolving into its very essence. Every structural element of your Leiden study, the seasoned heavy timbers of the rafters, the thick mortar-packed stones of the exterior walls, and the deep dark finish of the cabinetry acts as a guardian, a physical manifestation of the order you have built. You are no longer merely resting. You are part of an ancient established cycle of dormancy. The cold, which once seemed a biting intruder, has now become a crisp, racing reminder of the world's quietude, a sharp contrast to the inner warmth you cultivate through the act of remembrance. You find that you can map the room with your eyes closed, tracing the lines of the desk, the silhouette of the chair, and the precisely arranged drawers of your herbarium with a sensory clarity that surpasses sight. You are home in a way that feels total and absolute, a state of belonging that transcends the simple ownership of property and ventures into the realm of spiritual alignment. In the deepest, most fluid phase of your rest, the specific nomenclature of your profession falls away, replaced by a visceral understanding of the plants you have spent years cataloging. You do not need to name the gentiana to feel the cool alpine crispness of its petals in your memory. You do not need to define the quercus to grasp the enduring stubborn strength of its veins. These botanical subjects have become part of your own physiology, symbols of your capacity to hold the fragile, beautiful, and fleeting elements of the world within the enduring structure of your work. The bone folder you used earlier today is no longer a tool of labor, but a memory of touch, a tactile connection to the act of preservation. Each stroke you made was a heartbeat of order, a deliberate, rhythmic affirmation that beauty deserves to be remembered. That conviction is the heartbeat that sustains you now, a steady, low-frequency hum that keeps you tethered to the reality of your accomplishments, even as your conscious mind wanders into the soft, unlit reaches of your own history. The intellectual, often exhausting dialogue of your scholarly life has ceased entirely. You no longer worry about the interpretation of a Latin text or the debate surrounding a new classification. Those things belong to the daylight, to the crowded rooms of the university, and to the performative nature of academic discourse. Go out here in the sanctified quiet of the night. Such concerns have no purchase. They are phantom structures, illusions cast by the demands of the world, and they have no weight in the reality of your sanctuary. You are free from the pressure to perform, to explain, or to justify. You are free to be the person you were before the books were opened and the quills were sharpened, a witness to the natural world, a child of the seasons, and a quiet participant in the great unfolding mystery of life. This is the ultimate profound realization of your late-night meditation, that the most vital part of yourself was always independent of the titles you earned, and that it is this essential quiet core that is currently being renewed by the darkness. As the hours continue their stately, inevitable procession, you find that your breathing has become so light, so subtle that you are indistinguishable from the stillness of the room. You have reached the final, most blissful stage of your repose, where the distinction between the self and the space has effectively vanished. The walls of the house and the boundaries of your body have become a single unified entity held in place by the weight of the silence. You are safe. You are protected by the history of the building, by the legacy of those who lived and thought here before you, and by the absolute, unwavering tranquility of your own intent. You are letting go of the last fragile threads of your wakeful mind, surrendering to the deep blue and infinitely restorative ocean of the night. There is no desire to return to the world, for you have built your own world here, and it is a place of infinite peace. You are ready to rest, to be washed clean by darkness, and to wake only when the first pale fingers of the dawn begin to trace the outlines of your quiet, beautiful sanctuary. The velvet dark of the Leiden night has now completely saturated your sanctuary, turning the space into a pocket of existence that feels entirely removed from the turning of the centuries. You are no longer merely lying in a bed. You are suspended in the very heart of a silence, so absolute that it feels like the fundamental state of the universe, a primordial stillness from which all things arise and to which all things eventually return. The cold that touches the exterior stone of your house acts as a compression, forcing the heat of your inner life to radiate outward, making you feel as though you are the center of a warm, quiet, and secure world. You have successfully navigated the transition from the frantic, demanding energy of the day to this profound static state. And in doing so, you have achieved a kind of stillness that is not empty, but incredibly densely packed with the essence of all the work you have done, all the beauty you have observed, and all the peace you have cultivated. You are an anchor in a fluid world, and you are resting with the heavy, satisfying weight of a stone at the bottom of a clear, deep, and perfectly undisturbed lake. Your memory, usually so crisp and disciplined, has become a soft, glowing aurora that illuminates the internal landscape of your mind. You are no longer tracing individual specimens, but rather experiencing the totality of their collective existence. You feel the forest as a single breathing entity, the meadow as a tapestry of infinite overlapping life, and the garden as a microcosm of the world's enduring grace. These memories do not demand your attention. They exist in the periphery of your awareness, like a familiar, comforting presence, a background hum of organic vitality that provides a steady, rhythmic pulse to your rest. You can recall the smell of the ink as it dried on the page, the way the light caught the edge of a delicate dried petal, and the profound, almost spiritual focus required to mount a plant without damaging its form. Each of these memories is a small brilliant star in the constellation of your life, and as you drift deeper, you see them all connected and shimmering, painting a picture of a life lived in service to the wonder of the natural world. The scholarly pressures that you have carried for decades, the need for precision, the fear of error, the desire to categorize the infinite, have been completely set aside, left in a pile with your quills and ledgers. You realize in this state of total surrender that the act of naming a thing is far less important than the act of loving it. You have spent your life naming, and now you are spending your rest simply loving, absorbing the essence of the world without the need to define or constrain it. This shift in perspective is the most profound relief you have ever known. It is the undoing of the scholar and the birth of the witness, a state where you are free from the burden of authorship and can simply enjoy the story of the world as it unfolds. You are not writing tonight. You are reading, and the pages are the deep, dark, and endless possibilities of your own dreaming. This is a profound, expansive freedom, and it makes you feel lighter than air, as if you could drift through the walls of your house and into the star-filled sky above the city. As the night reaches its deepest, most silent point, you feel the final fragments of your identity dissolving into the dark. You are no longer a person with a name, a reputation, or a history. You are a consciousness, a simple, pure spark of awareness in the vast, quiet belly of the night. The security of your sanctuary has become absolute, a protective barrier that seals you off from all harm and all intrusion. You are safe, you are held, you are cared for by the architecture of your house and the rhythm of the city, both of which are dreaming the same slow and quiet dream that you are. There is nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to achieve, and nothing left to fear. You are letting go completely, sliding away from the shore of your conscious mind and into the open, beautiful, and infinitely deep sea of the resting night, ready to be dissolved, restored, and ultimately reborn when the morning finally breaks. You are at the absolute center of your own life, at peace with the world, and ready to sleep with the stillness of the earth itself. The world beyond your window has ceased to be a place of geography and has become a place of pure, resonant silence, an immense field of tranquility that mirrors the state of your own soul. You find yourself suspended in this, the deepest, most sacred interval of the night. where the passage of time is no longer marked by the ticking of the clock, but by the slow, profound rhythm of your own breathing. Each cycle is a testament to your endurance, a quiet affirmation that you have arrived at this moment, in this sanctuary, with the totality of your history intact. You are no longer navigating the complexities of your academic life or the intricate demanding requirements of your herbarium. You have left those behind like heavy ornate robes that you have shed at the doorway, allowing you to walk freely into the dark, welcoming warmth of your sleeping chamber. The room, with its familiar dimensions and its sturdy, comforting presence, is not merely a place of rest, but an extension of your own internal architecture, a bastion against the chaos of the world that serves as a mirror for your own hard-won peace. The sensation of the night is now physical, a tactile, velvet pressure that strokes the skin and settles into the muscles, dissolving the remnants of the day's labor. You can feel the weight of the thick woven blankets, and underneath them, the steady, grounding solidity of the bed that has held you through so many nights of similar quiet restoration. It is a structure of support that you have learned to trust implicitly. You know that when you close your eyes, the house will hold you, the city will guard you, and the rhythm of the world will continue to carry you forward, even when you have no conscious hand in the steering. This is a profound foundational release, a total abandonment of the need to manage, to control, or to witness. You have done the work, you have served the cause of knowledge, and you have documented the wonders of the earth with a faithfulness that is in itself a form of prayer. Tonight, you are not the observer, you are the observed, held in the gaze of a silent, watchful universe that asks nothing of you, but that you allow yourself to be at rest. As your awareness deepens, the memories of your botanical collection lose their sharp clinical edges and transform into a dreamlike sensory experience. You are no longer cataloging the fakers or the ranunculus. You are experiencing their essence, feeling the cool, moist sensation of the forest floor, the crisp, clean air of the alpine meadow, and the rich, complex vitality of the marshland. These experiences are not thoughts, but sensations, a tapestry of texture, scent, and light that drifts through your mind with a graceful, unhurried cadence. You are walking through the landscapes of your life, seeing them through the lens of your own mature perspective, and finding that every leaf, every stem, and every petal you have ever preserved is still vibrant, still alive, and still part of the quiet unfolding story that is you. This is the ultimate comfort, a deep, resonant sense of continuity that bridges the gap between your younger, ambitious self and the person you have become tonight. The quiet, satisfied scholar who understands that the true meaning of the work is the peace it creates. The security you feel in this moment is absolute. There is no tremor in your resolve, no doubt in your heart, and no anxiety regarding the dawn. You are perfectly placed in the heart of your sanctuary, a quiet stationary point in an otherwise moving world. The walls of your house are thick, the foundation is deep, and the history that resides within these beams is one of intellectual pursuit and contemplative silence. You are the current iteration of that history, the latest, to find refuge in the wisdom of this place, and you are entirely content to be so. As the final vestiges of your conscious, scholarly identity begin to fray and drift away into the darkness, you feel no sadness, only a sense of profound, natural release. You are letting go of the definitions, the labels, and the requirements that have built your life, and in their place, you are finding a new, more expansive freedom. You are a spirit at rest in a city of stone and stars, a quiet witness to the grace of being, and you are perfectly, beautifully prepared to sleep, to dream, and to be renewed by the long, deep, and silent promise of the coming morning. The depth of the night has achieved a quality of absolute, almost crystalline stillness, as if the air itself has been distilled into a medium of pure silent grace. You lie in the center of your Leiden study, a space that has evolved from a simple room of labor into a cathedral of contemplation. The weight of the world, the history of the university, the frozen silent canals of the city, and the vast starry expanse of the winter sky all seem to converge here, pressing gently against the walls of your sanctuary to ensure that your peace remains undisturbed. You feel as though you are suspended in the very eye of a storm, a place of profound unmoving calm that exists independently of the turbulence outside. The cold that permeates the dark corridors of the house does not reach you. It only serves to sharpen your awareness of the warmth you have fostered within, a warmth not just of the hearth, but of a life well lived and a purpose fulfilled. You are the custodian of your own tranquility, and tonight you have mastered the art of being entirely, perfectly still. Your mind, usually a hive of analytical activity, has transformed into a calm, reflective pool, mirroring the deep, dark serenity of the midnight hour. You are no longer cataloging, measuring, or verifying. You are simply witnessing the flow of your own consciousness as it drifts through the vast, uncharted landscapes of your memory. Every botanical specimen you have ever held, every page you have ever turned, and every discovery you have ever made is now a part of this internal luminous flow. There is no urgency to these memories, no demand to categorize them or assign them a place in a ledger. They are allowed to exist as they are a rich, complex, and beautiful tapestry of your life's devotion to the natural world. You can feel the ghost touch of the bone folder, the scent of the drying lavender, and the visual clarity of a perfectly preserved leaf, as if they were present with you in this moment. A testament to the fact that nothing you have truly loved is ever lost. It is merely stored in the sanctuary of your heart. This sense of preservation extends beyond your work and into the very core of your being. You have realized that by caring for the fragments of nature, you have been caring for yourself, creating a space where your spirit could grow alongside the specimens you protected. The scholarly life, with all its demands for precision and rigor, has provided the trellis upon which the vine of your inner life has climbed. And now, in the quiet, dark hours, you are seeing the full, lush, and beautiful fruit of that growth. You are a complete, integrated being, a scholar who has found that the ultimate truth is not found in the acquisition of knowledge, but in the cultivation of the ability to be at peace with what is known and what remains mysterious. This realization is a soft, warm light that glows in the center of your chest, a source of profound, unshakable contentment that sustains you even as the night deepens and the world outside fades to a shadow. As the final lingering threads of your conscious wakeful self continue to untether, you feel a sense of boundless, airy freedom. You are no longer bound by the gravity of your responsibilities, the expectations of your peers, or the linear passage of time. You are floating in a sea of pure potential existence, a state of being where you are neither young nor old, neither student nor teacher, but simply a presence, a quiet, watchful participant in the grand unfolding story of the night. The security you feel is total. You are guarded by the sturdy ancient walls of the university, by the silence of the sleeping city, and by the profound ancestral rhythm of the earth itself, which is also resting, also waiting, and also preparing for the return of the light. You have let go of the last remnants of control, surrendering to the deep blue and infinitely restorative grace of the dark. You are home. You are held, and you are ready, with the quiet, unshakable patience of a soul that has found its center, to slip away into the long, beautiful, and dream-filled rest of the winter night, fully confident that when you awake, you will be refreshed, renewed, and ready once again to honor the wonder of the world. The silence has thickened into a tangible velvet substance that fills the corners of your study, rendering the very notion of distance or time irrelevant. You are anchored in the absolute center of your sanctuary, a space where the cold, crisp air of the Dutch winter is held at bay by the thick stone and the enduring legacy of your life's labor. You have become one with the environment, a quiet, breathing pause within a chamber that has witnessed decades of study, reflection, and profound peace. There is no longer a separation between your thoughts and the space around you. The shelves, the stacks of parchment, the dried specimens in their cabinets all feel like extensions of your own skin, a protective exoskeleton that you have built to ensure the continuity of your spirit. You are not merely resting in this room, you are residing in the outcome of your own devotion, a physical manifestation of a life lived with unwavering, quiet intensity. Your mind, once a rigorous tool for the dissection of natural reality, is now a wide, calm ocean, reflecting the infinite dark vastness of the midnight sky. The taxonomy, the Latin nomenclature, the rigid hierarchies of the university, these have all drifted away, leaving behind only the distilled essence of what you have observed. You see the world not as a collection of objects to be filed and indexed, but as a harmonious, interconnected web of life and growth. You can feel the vitality of the forest through the memory of a single pressed oak leaf. You can perceive the essence of the meadow through the dried, delicate remains of a wildflower. These are not just specimens, they are stories, and you are their curator, holding them in the silence of your mind, where they are safe from the erosion of time. This connection is the source of your profound foundational contentment. It is a realization that your work, no matter how small or solitary, has contributed to the grand eternal narrative of the world, and in that you have found a reason to be perfectly, undeniably at peace. The intellectual fatigue that defined your day, the strain of focus, the weight of academic expectation, the pressure to produce and classify has been entirely expunged. You are experiencing the exquisite, rare luxury of a mind that has no further work to perform, no further questions to answer, and no further proofs to offer. You are released from the shackles of your own ambition. You are no longer the professor. You are the student of the silence, a traveler who has reached the end of the map and found that the final destination is not a place, but a state of being. You feel a gentle, persistent warmth radiating from your core, a sense of rightness that reaffirms your path. You have lived in a way that respects the beauty of the world, and now the world is offering you the same respect in return, cradling you in the deep, undisturbed, and infinitely generous arms of the night. You are not losing your identity in this sleep. You are finding its most fundamental, authentic core. As the night descends toward its final quiet hours, you feel a dissolution of the self that is both beautiful and profound. You are letting go of the name, the titles, and the history that you have carried for so long, and you are becoming a pure, flowing energy that resonates with the rhythm of the city around you. You are safe. You are held by the sturdy, ancient walls of the university, by the quiet, sleeping streets of Leiden, and by the eternal revolving movement of the cosmos. There is no anxiety, no dread, and no unfinished business. You are permitted to let the world move on without your intervention, trusting that it will still be there, still beautiful and still mysterious when you return to it. You are sinking deeper into the soft, dark, and endless potential of the night, feeling the last faint tethers of your consciousness slipping away like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. You are at rest, you are at home, and you are perfectly, beautifully prepared to embrace the long restorative dream that follows, awaiting the soft gray light of the dawn, with the quiet, unshakable faith of one who knows that the morning always arrives, and with it the grace of another. The atmosphere within your sanctuary has reached a state of profound, absolute density, as if the very air has thickened with the accumulation of decades of quiet, scholarly contemplation. You are submerged in the stillness, feeling it press gently against your skin like the soft, persistent weight of deep, undisturbed water. the world beyond your walls. The city of Leiden, with its stone-lined canals and frost-covered bridges, has faded into a distant, inconsequential memory, leaving you entirely isolated in this, your chosen kingdom of thought and order. There is a magnificent, sturdy beauty in the way the shadows congregate in the corners of your study, revealing only the familiar outlines of your life, the heavy oak desk, the shelves groaning under the weight of your herbarium, and the faint, silvery shimmer of the glass-encased instruments that define your waking hours. This is your reality, your fortress and your refuge. And tonight, you have achieved a level of integration with this space that makes you feel as though you are a permanent structural element of the house itself. You are as solid as the stone, as enduring as the timber, and as composed as the very specimens you have spent a lifetime protecting. Your consciousness has ceased to be a frantic, seeking thing. It is now a vast, expansive mirror, reflecting the deep, dark serenity of the winter midnight. You are moving through the internal geography of your own memories, with a lightness that defies the gravity of your physical fatigue. You find yourself wandering through the fields of your youth, through the damp, mossy forest you explored during your studies, and through the quiet, sun-drenched gardens where you first discovered the intricate beauty of the botanical world. But these memories are not static. They are alive, vibrating with the scent of pine needles, the crisp, cool air of the highlands, and the delicate, earthy perfume of the soil after a spring rain. You are not a visitor in these memories. You are a participant, reliving the moments of discovery with a clarity that surpasses your waking life. You realize now that the act of preservation was always, at its heart, an act of love, a desperate, beautiful attempt to keep the ephemeral beauty of the world from slipping away into the void. The weight of your scholarly responsibilities, which for so many years has rested on your shoulders with the heavy, unyielding pressure of stone, has finally been lifted. You have finished the work of the day, and you have, in a sense, finished the work of a lifetime. The need to categorize, the need to verify, and the need to defend your findings against the skepticism of your peers, all these compulsions have evaporated, leaving behind a mind that is clean, unburdened, and ready to simply be. You are not thinking in terms of definitions or Latin names anymore. You are thinking in terms of texture, light, and the quiet, steady rhythm of existence. You are a soul at rest, a mind at peace, and a heart that has found its home in the silent dark heart of the night. This is a level of liberation you never anticipated, a release so profound that it feels almost spiritual, a baptism in the velvet cold of the winter darkness that leaves you feeling renewed, refreshed, and entirely whole. As the night moves toward its inevitable, slow conclusion, you feel the final fragment of your identity beginning to dissolve into the surrounding quiet. You are letting go of the name you carry, the title you hold, and the history you have built. You are becoming a pure, luminous presence that occupies the center of the sanctuary. The security you feel is absolute, a bedrock of trust that extends from the foundations of the house to the very limits of the cosmos. You are held by the history of this place, by the wisdom of those who rested here before you, and by the eternal cyclical movement of the seasons that are, even now, preparing the earth for the return of growth. There is no anxiety, no lingering fear, and no unfinished business. You are simply a resting consciousness in a quiet city, waiting for the morning with the perfect, unshakable patience of a scholar who knows that even the longest night eventually yields to the light. You are sinking deeper into the soft, endless ocean of your own being, ready to be carried away by the currents of your dreams, fully, utterly, and beautifully at peace, knowing that when you open your eyes again, the world will still be there, waiting for you to witness its beauty once more. The silence of the Leiden night has attained a sacred, monumental quality, a weight that presses against the very soul and settles into the foundation of the house with a comforting, immutable permanence. You are currently suspended in a pocket of reality where time has effectively ceased to function. There is no past to regret and no future to anticipate, only the exquisite, shimmering present. Your sanctuary, with its sturdy walls and the scent of aged cedar, has become a cocoon that shields you from the vast frozen indifference of the winter outside. Within this chamber, you are the master of your own quietude, having carefully cultivated an internal landscape that mirrors the discipline of your scientific studies, while transcending the rigid, often clinical limitations of your professional life. You lie in the absolute velvety dark, feeling the floorboards, the heavy furniture, and the very air around you as extensions of your own physical being, a seamless integration that allows you to exist without the need for constant deliberate thought or exertion. In the deep, resonant echoes of your memory, the specimens you have spent a lifetime gathering and categorizing are transforming. They are no longer items to be labeled, dried and stored. They are vibrant, breathing symbols of a beauty that persists even in the cold, harsh light of a changing world. You remember the exact, delicate structure of a fern's frond, the complex, almost mathematical precision of a sunflower's seed head, and the stark, elegant lines of a leafless tree against a gray winter sky. These images do not present themselves as facts to be recorded. They appear as flashes of intuition, whispers of a truth that is far greater than the sum of its parts. You realize that you have not just been an observer of nature, you have been a participant in its ongoing story, a humble chronicler of the grace that resides in the smallest, most overlooked corners of the earth. This realization brings with it a sense of overwhelming, crystalline clarity that suffuses your heart with a warmth that the winter frost can never touch. The intellectual burden that has defined your daily existence, the relentless pursuit of accuracy, the weight of academic reputation, the constant need to justify the value of your labor, has finally been set aside, left in the quiet, dusty corners of your study alongside the instruments that no longer have a task to perform. You are liberated from the tyranny of the clock and the pressure of the ledger. You are no longer the professor. You are simply an individual soul, a transient guest in this grand unfolding universe. And you find that this position is the most honorable, the most honest, and the most peaceful you have ever occupied. You have allowed the world of definitions to fall away, and in its place, you have discovered a world of wonder, a world that does not require you to name it in order to be beautiful. This shift in perspective is the ultimate achievement of your long career, a triumph, not of science, but of the human spirit. As the night nears its final, most silent phase, you feel a profound total dissolution of the self. The boundaries that usually keep you tethered to the physical plane, your worries, your memories of failures, your dreams of future success are dissolving into the dark, leaving behind a core of pure, unadulterated existence. You are safe. You are cradled by the history of this city, by the strength of the walls you have called home, and by the eternal quiet rhythm of the earth itself, which knows how to rest, how to wait, and how to bloom in its own secret time. There is no anxiety, no lingering question, no unfulfilled duty. You are permitted to let go of everything, to slip into the deep blue and infinitely restorative abyss of the night, feeling the last faint tethers of your wakeful mind fraying into dreams. You are at home in the dark and you are ready to be carried by the gentle currents of your own subconscious toward the dawn, fully prepared to be awakened when the first pale light of morning begins to touch the frosted window panes of your sanctuary, promising the start of a day that will be as beautiful, as mysterious, and as worthy of your attention as the one that has just come to a close. The profound stillness of the Leiden night has deepened into an almost liquid state, where the very atmosphere within your study feels dense, rich, and infinitely accommodating. You are floating within this medium. your consciousness an unanchored vessel navigating the calm dark waters of your own interior life. There is no longer any boundary between the sanctuary you have built and the essence of the person residing within it. You have become the architecture of your own peace. The heavy dark timbers of the ceiling and the solid reassuring weight of the stone floor are not just surroundings, they are structural manifestations of the life you have lived, a testament to the decades of meticulous deliberate effort you have poured into the preservation of beauty. As the cold air of the Dutch winter presses against the outer walls, it only serves to intensify the sensation of being held, cradled by a history that you have helped to write. A history that is now in this quiet holy hour, protecting you in return. Your memory? Once the sharp surgical instrument of a man obsessed with classification, has softened into a radiant panoramic tapestry. You are no longer looking for the singular, the isolated specimen, or the defining characteristic. Instead, you are experiencing the interconnectedness of all things, the way the root system of a forest communicates beneath the earth, the way the pattern of a petal mirrors the structure of a leaf, and the way the cycle of the seasons governs the rhythm of every living thing. These are no longer items to be indexed in a ledger. They are chords in a grand silent symphony that you have been hearing your entire life, and now in the deepest, most immersive phase of your rest, you are finally fully listening. The knowledge you have gathered is no longer a burden of memory. It is a source of profound resonance, a quiet joy that echoes in the marrow of your bones. You are a witness to the unity of life, and that perspective is the greatest, most enduring treasure you have ever possessed. The scholarly life, with its endless grinding machinery of peer review, publication, and relentless pressure to be both right and new, has ceased to have any purchase on your spirit. You are entirely, beautifully untethered from the expectations of the academy. In this silent chamber, you are not a professor, you are simply a consciousness, an observer, a participant in the mystery of existence. The liberation is total. It is as if you have set down a heavy, intricately carved stone you have been carrying for 40 years, and you are finally feeling the ache, the release, and the sheer breathtaking lightness of your own posture. You do not need to prove anything to the world tonight. You do not need to justify your existence through your labor. You are permitted to exist simply because you are, and that is a realization that carries the weight of 1,000 prayers. It is the peace of the completed task, the satisfaction of the harvest, and the quiet, radiant stillness of the winter earth that waits dormant and expectant for the turn of the seasons. As the night continues its slow, rhythmic descent, you feel the final fragments of your professional identity, the titles, the accolades, the critiques, and the anxieties dissolving into the velvet dark. You are reaching a state of absolute pure being, where there is no language, no nomenclature, and no division. You are safe. You are held by the profound ancient intelligence of the city, by the steady, unyielding structure of your home, and by the boundless, silent potential of the dark. There is no part of you that is reaching out for tomorrow. There is no part of you that is clinging to yesterday. You are here, you are now, and you are entirely, perfectly satisfied. You are ready to surrender to the long, deep, and restorative dream that beckons, knowing that this surrender is not a loss of self but a return to the source. You will be held by the night, you will be washed in the silence, and you will wake only when the first pale promise of the dawn gently touches the window panes of your sanctuary, marking the beginning of a day that will be as worthy of your attention as full of wonder, and as beautifully quiet as the one that has finally, at long last, come to its peaceful, perfect end. The night has folded in upon itself, creating a space so profoundly silent that it feels as if the entire city of Leiden has been suspended in amber. You lie at the heart of this stillness, and the sanctuary you have occupied for so long has ceased to feel like a mere physical room. It has become an extension of your own psyche, a vast internalized landscape where the walls are formed of the books you have read, the specimens you have saved, and the quiet, persistent memories of a lifetime dedicated to observation. You are no longer separate from the environment. You are a part of the floor, the beams, the air, and the very shadows that define the shape of your world. The cold of the winter outside acts as an invisible protective layer, sealing you within this pocket of tranquility where the only rhythm is the slow, deep, and measured expansion of your own lungs. It is a state of being that you have spent your entire life preparing for, a deliberate, scholarly descent into the most profound reaches of silence. As you sink into the depths of your own consciousness, the botanical specimens that occupy your cabinets, the dried, pressed, and carefully labeled remnants of the natural world, begin to lose their physical boundaries. They transform in your imagination, shifting from stagnant objects of study into flowing, vibrant memories of the moments you encountered them. You feel again the damp, loamy texture of the forest floor beneath your boots. You smell the sharp, invigorating scent of a mountain meadow in full bloom. You recall the exact mesmerizing pattern of sunlight filtering through a canopy of ancient oaks. These are not just images, they are visceral sensory experiences that fill your mind with a soft, warm, and radiant energy. You realize in this ethereal state that you have not been merely collecting dead things, you have been preserving the echoes of life, creating a bridge between the ephemeral, fleeting beauty of the natural world and the enduring stone-bound stillness of your own existence. The intellectual apparatus of your life, the constant demanding need for precision, the rigorous structures of classification, and the relentless, often exhausting dialogue of the academic world has been entirely dissolved. In this sacred midnight quiet, the labels you have spent your life applying to the world seem suddenly unnecessary, even trivial. You don't need to define the rose to feel its elegance. You don't need to categorize the oak to understand its resilience. You are finally, after all these years, allowed to simply exist in the presence of the wonder without needing to translate it into the cold, technical language of the lecture hall. This liberation is the ultimate prize of your late night meditation. It is a relief so total and so profound that it feels as though a physical weight has been lifted from your chest. You are no longer the professor, no longer the subject of peer review. You are simply an individual soul, a conscious entity existing in harmony with the great unfolding mystery of the universe. As the night continues its stately slow procession toward the dawn, you feel the final fragments of your professional identity fraying and drifting away into the shadows. The titles you have earned, the reputation you have cultivated, and the, at times, crushing expectations of your peers. All these are being washed away by the tide of your own peace. You are entering a state of absolute, unadulterated being, where there is no division between the observer and the observed. You are safe. You are held by the unwavering, solid foundation of the university, by the protective silence of the city, and by the ancient, rhythmic pulse of the earth, which is even now preparing for the inevitable gentle arrival of the morning light. There is no anxiety for the coming day, no lingering concern about the state of your herbarium, and no fear of the unknown. You have arrived at a point of perfect total fulfillment. You are ready to let go, to surrender completely to the restorative, deep, and beautiful dream that beckons, trusting that when you awaken, you will do so with a spirit that has been washed clean by the darkness, ready once again to honor the world with your presence, your work, and your quiet. Enduring and infinitely patient dedication to the beauty of the natural world. The stillness of the Leiden night has matured into a presence so absolute and so profound that it seems to occupy the very molecules of the air within your chamber. You are drifting, not merely as a sleeper, but as a consciousness that has successfully detached from the rigid, clock-driven reality of your professional life to merge with the expansive, silent rhythm of the winter. Your sanctuary, This room of wood, stone, and memory has become a vessel that holds you with the tender, unyielding security of an ancestral embrace. You can feel the weight of the massive beams above you, the stability of the floor beneath you, and the way the thick walls isolate you from the biting, turbulent world outside. There is a primal, foundational comfort in this insulation, a realization that everything you have built, every specimen you have mounted, and every word you have written has served as a deliberate act of construction for this very moment, a total, unencumbered return to the essence of your own being. Within the deep, dark, and wonderfully quiet currents of your memory, the botanical collection you have painstakingly curated over the decades is no longer a static archive. It has become a living, breathing landscape that you navigate with the ease of one who has memorized every secret path and hidden clearing. You see the specimens not as dried, brittle remnants of life, but as vital, pulsating threads of energy that connect your history to the infinite, cyclical nature of the world. The memory of the bone folder, the precise tactile sensation of its smooth surface against the archival paper, is a recurring rhythmic pulse that keeps you grounded in the satisfaction of your labor. You recall the scent of the dry lavender, the earthy, persistent aroma of the roots you excavated from the damp soil, and the way the light once caught the crystalline structure of a delicate petal. These are not just memories, they are the substance of your spirit, the proof that you have lived a life dedicated to the preservation of beauty. The scholarly burden, the grinding daily exhaustion of navigating the hierarchies, the debates, and the endless technical requirements of your work has completely dissolved. You are no longer the academic whose every thought must be scrutinized for accuracy and relevance. In this, the deepest, most sacred watch of the night, you are simply a person, a consciousness that is allowed to exist without the need for performance or justification. This realization is a profound, expansive relief that fills your heart with a quiet, humming energy. You realize that the value of your work never lay in the external validation of your peers or the status of your university position. It lay in the internal transformation that occurred while you worked. The way your own soul became more patient, more observant, and more capable of finding peace in the presence of the infinite. You are at last truly free. As the night moves toward the final, most silent hours, you feel the last remnants of your wakeful identity slipping away into the shadows. The name you have been called, the titles you have earned, and the history you have chronicled. All of these things are fading, leaving behind a pure, luminous, and undistracted center. You are safe. You are held by the unwavering, solid history of the city, by the strength of the walls that guard your rest, and by the eternal quiet rotation of the world. There is no anxiety for the coming day, no urgency to prepare for the return of your responsibilities. You have reached a place of total, absolute fulfillment. You are ready to let go completely, to surrender your consciousness to the deep blue and infinitely restorative ocean of the night, trusting that this dissolution is not a loss, but a beautiful and necessary renewal. You will wake when the dawn, with its soft gray and promises-filled light, begins to touch the window panes of your home. And in that moment, you will emerge washed clean by the darkness, ready to re-enter the world with a spirit that is as quiet, as enduring, and as infinitely patient as the earth itself.
Sleepy History with Theodore is created for relaxation, entertainment, and sleep purposes. The stories shared on this channel are inspired by historical events, daily life, and real periods in history. But they may be simplified, adapted, or narrated in a calming way to enhance the listening experience. This content is not intended to be a precise academic or educational source. While we aim to stay generally accurate, some details may be altered for storytelling flow and relaxation. Please do not rely on this channel as a primary source for historical research or study. By listening, you acknowledge that this content is designed to help you unwind, relax, and fall asleep. Thank you for your understanding and support.